Africa will definitely use him to go route one, and then Dwayne Vermeulen to just settle the team come second half.
And it's amazing how like some people sort of pick up on different things and ways. I think this is good. There's two as a player I like to talk to you talk about, and I like to talk about a bit of an aspect off the bench, following on to the Dwayne. So let's start with sort of the following on to the Dwayne part is leadership. Big names, big players in the right time. So you've got in the starting lineup, you've got a Eben Etzebeth, you've got a Steven Kitshoff, you've got a Siya Kolisi. You've got three big leaders in the pack there. You've got a Factor Clerk at 9, playing his 50th test, so very experienced. In the back line, for example, you've got a Daylindi, you've got Jesse Quills, plenty of experience there. In the second half, when the bench is unleashed, chances are Siya Kolisi won't play in full 80. In fact, I would like him not to be seeing him playing full 80 until we get to the playoffs. I want to see him offload everything in the first 50, get him off, wrap the knee up every single week. Even Etzebeth potentially plays a full 80, but doesn't necessarily. Steven Kitshoff obviously won't. So then you've got now apparently Bongi, who's obviously very high in the leadership group, coming off the bench. You've got Dwayne Vermeulen coming off the bench, and you've also got a Willie LaRue coming off the bench. So how, in terms of we mentioned combinations, but how important is also having that leadership, being able to sort of replace each other to make sure that 75 minutes, 4 points down, a penalty, inside their own half, you've got the right minds to say, right, when we're going to go to the corner, we've got to score a try, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely pivotal. I mean, I think, everyone's probably tired of me harping on about it, but the attitude of where the Boks were in terms of our talking to the ref and complaining and arms up in the air, when we didn't have Siya, that was that's where I miss Siya the most, because we saw when he came back, and there was a little bit of chat. I think Willie was trying to talk to the ref, whatever, and Siya came up and said, sorry, sir, I'll deal with it, and so I think, yeah, absolutely, if you're going to sub off those big players, not just their experience, and their skill, but the leadership aspect is just as important. So I'm not stressing about that, because as you mentioned, we've got guys who are coming off who are experienced and have those leadership roles and can make the right call. So no, I think we're really poised well. I think going back to the earlier talk about France, New Zealand, and we were talking about how this play. I mean, didn't we just say like all of France's hopes hang on Antoine Dupont? Like I don't feel that way as a Springbok fan. Like yes, obviously. There's one or two people we don't want to get injured. However, if they do get injured, I still back our boys because of the depth we've got, and that's why I feel like we're in a really good position here, because things are going to happen in this World Cup, but I feel like we have the cushioning both.
Oh, no, it's gone off to a game drive.
Oh.
He's kind of for Africa. So, shame. He's not elaborating the point so nicely. So, basically, Wes doesn't rate anybody's captain. Chris, Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Who would have thought 2 months ago that Grant Williams would have been coming off the bench in our first game at the World Cup against Scotland?
No, you wouldn't have thought. And yeah, it's been quite a journey, hasn't it? So yeah, he's obviously very highly thought of, regarded by the coaches, clearly, because they've given him every ample opportunity to get there, and there he is. So, and he is a great player, and he's obviously offering something.
Well, what is that something? Because let's be honest. I mean, I think we probably all were sitting there saying that it's, Herschel Yankees, Grant Williams were going to be the obvious ones to leave behind originally, when we saw squad's name, because we thought that Jaden Henderson would probably get back to the mix. We know Kubus Rana's about there. Then Herschel Yankee sort of falls away, but Grant Williams still gets a call up. He not only gets called up to the World Cup, but he's named in the side. And he's such a non-traditional Springbok scrum half. So, I mean, yes, we know he's excited stuff, but what do you think it is that's really just made the Springboks the management go, actually, we're going to back this guy?
Stevie, I don't know. He is a great player, right? I mean, when he's playing well and he's on form, he's a difference maker. You've seen him at the Sharks; he's electric. I think I'm trying to put the hat on. I think the Boks, and I'm going to bring Reinach into it. Like Reinach's versatile as well, right? And so is Williams. So I think this coaching staff likes that type of player, and let's call him maybe a Foster better upgrade, something that offers more than Reinach at this point. Because I would think
a Foster Reinach is ridiculous, that concept.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. So I think they keep bringing Reinach through all the time, and it's obviously because he can cover probably if we really need to. And Grant Williams is they maybe see him as the future. So give him. I mean, I would say. He's so different to Faf, to Hendricks. So all three of them are completely different scrum halves, right? So interesting. I like every book team we see some one or two names come a little bit out of out of position,
yeah.
right? This is not, so it's not unsurprising, and I think this is just how we roll. I think Grant Williams gets his chance, gets some game time now, gets some big match game time exposure, and he might be needed badly later down the line. And give him a go.
Yeah, no, I like it. Chris, before we move on, because we're gonna talk a bit about some big games this weekend: England, Argentina, Georgia taking on the underdogs Australia, and a couple of other sort of matches throughout the weekend. But before we do that, Chris, you're gonna make us some money this weekend. The official Boyle Sports betting segment brought to you by Boyle Sports. Chris, what have you got for us for the weekend?
Yeah, well, we could just recap. Last week, I gave those 2 leans, which I now totally regret. I wish we had
I
put
should
it
have
on
had the record. I should have had the record.
So just backed myself, right, and gone for it. Hey, look, they still won. They're still winners. We're still winning. If anyone did use them, I had some money on them, so I was okay. But yeah, they came through, but it doesn't add to our record. As you can see, the overall record is the same. Or the return on base was 52%. Their CV was 62. Last week was a mistake. I hadn't updated it properly. So it's 52, which is still fine, still good. This week, I've gone for second half high scoring markets again. I've used this market before with what's available on Boyles at the moment, going onto Showtime. I just think, I think the first half could be full of emotion, flat, maybe a few mistakes, and the game just gradually gets better as it goes on. So I quite like that there'll be more points scored in the second half there. And I'm going for the Georgians against Australia, plus 21 points. I think that's a juicy handicap. I think the Georgians are not bad at all. I think Australia, we all know what Australia are like. I think the Georgians are going to be so fired up. And if they're fired up and good enough, they can take Australia a long way in this game, take them really close. So 21 points is far too much for me. I think it should be around 15 at least. So I like the 21.5. So we'll go. Oh, I didn't put the units play there. Sorry, it's 1.5.
1.5 on each of them.
Yeah, let's go 1.5.
Okay, 1.5 on each of them. All right, cool. And then obviously, Chris will hopefully be live for our official betting show tomorrow. But as always, follow on X the Crow Tips for a couple of punts over the weekend.
I'll be posting much more on Twitter now for the World Cup. I love the World Cup. I already got a few cooking in the background there, which I'll post soon.
All right, cool. We're looking forward to that. So yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you go and get yourself a Boyle Sports account so that you can get yourself this vet, put it in there. I'm actually busy currently locking them in as we speak because I just blindly follow Chris basically. It's the I just back you at the end of the day. I've got my eye on the house that I want. I've got the eye on the car I want, and I'm backing you to get me there eventually. So love your work there, Chris, and hopefully it won't. We're not still having this conversation 10 years time without me in my house and without me in my car. Perhaps there are some other games obviously this weekend, plenty of them. Rudy, let's talk a little bit about England and Argentina. That's a pretty big game. It's the game of Saturday. When last, if ever, do we think we've ever seen Argentina going into a World Cup clash against England as the favourites?
I actually can't remember. I don't think they've carried the favourites tags at all at any World Cup. But I think for this one against England, the tables have turned. I think England are in a dire place. They didn't have a great warm-up set of matches. They barely scraped through Wales, and they looked rather average. And I think the new coach has maybe got a bunch of players with the same old ideas that they're just bouncing off the walls. But for Argentina, I think they've had a hit out against South Africa, Australia, New Zealand this year. They bring a different intensity that I'm not sure England are going to match. I mean, if England are losing at home to Fiji, albeit a warm-up game, I think Argentina are looking at that, and their emotion and their belief will be skyrocketing, and Pablo Matera, Thomas Lavanini and those will definitely back themselves against England. So I back Argentina actually to definitely win that group based on that game.
Chris, I mean, what is it? I mean, we've talked about how bad England have been, and we just can't see how they come out of it. Do you give them much of a chance, or do you think the Argentina side are actually so settled and look so disciplined under Shaker that it's about them going out, sticking to their guns, and they get through the game relatively comfortably?
No, I don't think it is that straightforward. I know everyone's all over the RGs, which is probably sorry. I mean, you don't want to be back in England. No one don't feel comfortable back in England. But I don't think it's that straightforward. I think because England still have the players. They actually, when I was there, the first 15 minutes they were actually fine until the rain came. They were totally dominating Fiji. I think they're not far away, but I'm not going to put my neck out and say Argentina definitely win this, because I see I see why people are back in RG, but Argentina haven't been blowing the world away either in the last couple of years. So I'm not. I mean, on the right side of the draw to make a run. I'm on the fence with this game. I think Argentina will win, but don't be surprised if England do win. And I think there's a lot of upset people, because I think most people are going. I mean, I'm supporting RG, but don't be surprised if England do pick themselves up and wins this game.
Okay, well there we go. Yeah, I think it's an interesting shot. I personally, I like the look of Argentina. I really think that if they can live up to if they can play to their ability, I think that they get through that game. Some other games that to look forward to are Italy versus Namibia, which I think Wes is on duty for. Ireland versus Romania, and if you guys have seen the Ireland team, I feel not a good time to be a Romanian fan. Ireland have gone basically full strength. And a pretty powerful bench as well. Australia versus Georgia. I think that's going to be a closer game than some people think. I think Georgia have got a team and they're nice and physical, so I think they can have a go. Looking forward to seeing this Chile side, because I'm actually going to be watching them next week Saturday, so we're going to have to scope them out and see how they do against Japan. And then Wales versus Fiji should be quite a cool game. Chris, I mean, Fiji are, in inverted commas, I mean, they go into the tournament as the highest ranked team in their group that has Australia and Wales. Do we buy into the Fijian hype, or do you think it's misplaced?
Well, I think losing Mance as a Caleb Mance, the playoff is massive. I think he's the type of player that they needed for the type of game plan that they've been playing. I think we spoke about Fiji a while ago, and I always said it's just the backbone of Fiji. Like, they can run maybe for 60 minutes and then they fall off a cliff. But I saw Fiji side grow into a game against England and be quite disciplined or quite physical. So I think they're going to give Wales a really, really tough scare. I think some people are still feeling that Wales are going to come through. But another one, as I said, another very close one. I really want Fiji to win.
Well, I mean,
but I think they have
recent results. I think the fly half is a big shot. I think recent results would put Wales in the favourites tag. The loss of the fly half is a big one. But let's talk a little bit about Wales. Now that you're back, welcome back, by the way.
Thank you, boys. Thank you. What it was, guys, it was that new AI tech. It obviously picked up.
A little bit of sound, and Will Rager say no.
Silenced me there. Just little no free speech for you. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So
no, go ahead, Steve.
But where's Wales? It's such a. I mean, I'm a big Wales fan. I like the team. I like a lot of their players, and I think that in the past they've had some nice. Yeah. They've had some. It's an easy team to get behind. What do we expect from them? Because I literally do not know if this is going to be a Welsh side that could. I feel like they could rock up. They could top their group, and they could even shock a few teams. They could also rock up, be pretty dreadful, and crash out pretty quickly. What do we expect from this Wales team?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm there with you, Steve. Unfortunately, just it could be either two extremes. You know, as you said, like, I really enjoy watching the Welsh play. They're such a proud nation, and they love their rugby. And I mean, if we think about it, 2019 they finished fourth overall. You know, they were the fourth best team. You know, in that tournament. And so we know it's been 4 years, and then they're not quite the team that was there, but. As you said, I think there's no expectations, and that can be teams can go in and write other teams off. But I think they will have a tough time against Fiji if Fiji play the rugby we've seen them been playing recently. And as you guys said, with the fly half out, it's a big loss. But I do hope the Welsh do well. You know, I think they're, as I said, proud, passionate side who love their rugby, and it's not great that they aren't just finding that gear.
Right, boys, it's time to put your figurative money where your mouth is, because I'm going to look at the odds now, the odds on winners for the tournament, as well as the pools, and we're looking at a couple of this. So there's lots of markets, by the way. This is on BOYLESPORTS. So in fact, I'm actually going to set up my screen so we can actually share. We can actually have a look at this, because I want people to start saying. I want people to start putting some predictions down, who they think is going to go all the way, who they're backing to be a bit of a surprise package. Maybe even getting some prediction of who's going to lift the coveted Webb Ellis Trophy. So I'm going to just push that on the screen in just a second. And
making us sweat.
yeah, no, well, you
big
start panicking now, dude. Start
I haven't even
panicking now.
kicked off.
Right.
Oh, panic has begun.
So these are the markets for the outright winners. So we have got New Zealand at 4.2. They are the bookies' favourites to win the World Cup, which is already an interesting shot. France at 4.35, South Africa at 4.5, Ireland at 6.2. So those are obviously the top four. Is that disrespectful to Ireland? Am I the only one that thinks it's pretty disrespectful to Ireland?
No, I totally agree.
Yeah,
They should be in there with the same odds as France and South Africa. I think it's New Zealand that should be 6. New Zealand should be at 6, and Ireland should be up there where New Zealand is. They should swap those two around.
To be fair, though, Chris, Ireland don't really have much of a World Cup history further than the quarterfinal, so maybe that's also playing a slight factor, yeah?
I agree, and that's something to say, but this Ireland team has proven what they're a proven bunch. Have we forgotten they just won the Grand Slam? They've just beaten
This Ireland team lost to Japan in 2019.
Reeds came to fight today. I love it. Yeah, look, that is the big thing, and even the bookies are definitely. That's obviously something that even the bookies are saying is that they're saying that Ireland don't World Cup well. It's like the Pro Tours. The Pro Tours can go in playing the best cricket of their life. They're never going to be the favourites going into a World Cup because there is that mental thing. But I suppose, it's you've never won until you've won it type thing. So there's always going to be that one generation which breaks the duck. So. Yeah, I'll be interested to see if this is the one. After that, it's Australia at 14.5, England at 17.5, Argentina at 27, Scotland at 44, Wales at 45, and there's three teams who have absolutely apparently been completely written off. They are Uruguay, Romania, and Namibia, and they're all sitting at 3,001. So
blasphemy! Come on, surely we put a rand on there on each.
Yeah, I think I might put it around. I think I might put in a rand on everyone below, like Scotland actually or Wales. Japan's at 401, Italy's at 526. I want to put a rand on all of these. What have we got to lose here? I think that's going to be my play for the
your rand. That's what you have to lose. Your rand.
A pure rand. By the time we get
bricks, can we put some bricks on there? Can we submit bricks to BOYLESPORTS? Do they accept bricks yet or?
Yeah, or just some electricity, just buy some electricity or something, dude. But in terms of the pool winners, South Africa is the favourites to top Pool B, New Zealand the favourites to top Pool A, and Australia to top Pool C. I might have a cheeky punt on Fiji there. England to top Pool D over Argentina, but very, very close. First time winner, they reckon there is a 1.7 chance it will not be a first time winner. And this is interesting. A Six Nations team to win the World Cup at 1.8 saying no. So the bookies backing it to be a Southern Hemisphere side. So pretty much putting all their eggs in the South African and New Zealand basket, really. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. What do we think? Do we think Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere? Where are we going with this?
I think you've got to look at Northern Hemisphere. For me personally, seems to be a bit. If you look at the number of teams in form, right? At Southern Hemisphere at the moment, South Africa, New Zealand, top form. Northern Hemisphere, exactly. In Northern Hemisphere, you've got your Ireland, your France. That might be it as well. As we said, the Welsh team might be a bit of a surprise. Who knows? Biggest surprise would be England getting their shit together. Maybe this has been the ultimate mind game. Maybe Steve Borthwick's plan has been like, guys, listen, we're going to be absolute dog shit, and then we're going to kick it into gear.
Yeah, fair enough. So there's markets for absolutely everything over there in Boyles. There's markets for when every single team will bow out, a rugby championship team to win the World Cup, an all Northern Hemisphere final. There's every market you could possibly think about. The top try scorer, by the way, this is what I wanted to find out. I want you guys to try and name the top 5 candidates for the top try scorer. There are 3 of them. This is wild, by the way. 3 of them are from the same nation in the top 5. Give me somebody.
Aronsa.
Okay, so there's no Aronsa. Mark Talea is there. That's 1. He's 3rd on the list. Joint second.
Damien Pinno's
Pinno's there.
Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan is the favorite.
Who do we have? We have Jordan, Talea,
Pinot.
Pinot. We got
Yeah.
the other two.
Yeah. One is, as I said,
Uh,
3 of them are from the same nation, so there's one more New Zealander. I'll be impressed if you try to guess them.
Leicester Fainganuku.
No, they're back in Caleb Clark.
The Surveyor. Body Surveyor.
Caleb Clark.
That's a huge shot for me.
Caleb Clark.
Wouldn't have guessed that one.
And then, come on, people, who is the 5th person in this thing? Come on, guys.
Pimpy.
No, man.
Oh, fuck, Steve. Come on.
Chisholm Colby.
Thank you. Someone's on the Cheslin train. Cheslin Colby at 23 to be the top try scorer. Mapimpi's actually not far below. He has come in the top 9, as does Duan van der Merwe, Lester Panganuka, and James Lowe. So they're very much sort of backing all the New Zealanders. To be fair, Kurt Lawrence is up there with a try scoring record like that. Why not? Yeah, but so there's lots of markets over there for you guys to get involved in. So go and make sure that you go and get your pre-tournament bets locked in. There's top try scorers per team, for example. There's top top point scorers for the tournament. There's everything and anything over there in BOYLESPORTS. So go and get yourself, have a bit of fun. That's what I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm going to be picking out a couple of fun bets and stuff like that. Right, chaps. So as we start closing it and wrapping up here. We are going to be doing, as you guys have hopefully seen, we are doing a Super Brew League. We are also doing a Fantasy League, and it is compulsory that the Forever Sports team do get involved. So I'm going to give, how many games do we have this weekend? I want some quick fire predictions, and then I want to see if there's a snake in the grass and people are going to start changing their Super Brews after giving their predictions. But we have got 2, 4, 6, 8. We've got 8 games this weekend, so we can take 2 each. We're going to work right to left on my screen. So Rudy through to me. Rudy, you've got France versus New Zealand. You've got Italy versus Namibia. Give me your quick fire predictions.
France by 6. Italy by at least 17.
There we go. And that is quick fire. That's what I appreciate about Rudy. He comes in, the man knows what he wants. He's told Ireland that they're not going all the way. He's come and said Scotland not getting hammered. Short and succinct. I like it. Ireland versus Romania, Australia versus Georgia. Wes, what have you got?
Right. Well, I've got Romania to win by So Ireland to win by at least 20.
At least 20. Okay.
I think Ireland by at least 20, and then I think you've got Australia by 7. I do think I agree with you. I think it's gonna be a bit closer. I think Georgia got a pack. I think Aussies have struggled to find form. If they do find form, it could be a big scoring game. But yeah, it's all a big if.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember asking for justification, but thanks for giving it anyway.
Cheapers. Wow. All right. There's my place. I'll stay in it.
Okay, so it's going Australia by 7 and Ireland by more than 20. I think you could double that margin and still be pretty safe. But if you're looking at the Irish side that has been named, it is childish. Chris, England versus Argentina, Japan versus Chile.
England, Argentina. Draw? No.
Oh, come on! To back the draw.
I'm going to go England by 2.
England by 2. Nice close game.
Japan
Okay.
by 10.
Japan by 10. I should see how Japan play. I mean, they've kind of fallen off a little bit, haven't they, since the last World Cup, where they were threatening to be quite a competitive side. So I think there might be a bit of a dark horse. Hopefully, not for the World Cup, but to hopefully try and create an upset or two. Right, okay. So then I've got South Africa, Scotland. I've got Wales and Fiji. I'm going to go South Africa by 12. And I'm going to go Fiji by 5.
Yes, man.
Yeah, and again, we've now all locked this on camera, so we'll have to see if the Super Brew picks change or if they don't. But if you are watching, I will be doing my Super Brew picks live on the channel, so you will be able to see exactly what I might even be giving out a fan pick, so that I've got an excuse if I don't win the tournament. I can sit there blaming my fan pick. So tomorrow we are going to be having a Super Brew show. We'll also be having a fantasy show where I'll be going through my fantasy team, and I'm dreadful at fantasy, so basically it's come and watch Steve and laugh at Steve at his fantasy team. So I definitely won't be giving any tips, but we will be doing that on the channel as well tomorrow. Tonight we've got the press conference from New Zealand, by the way, the eve of match press conference. That is on the channel. You can listen to Mark Slayer, Ian Foster. We will have more press conference on the channel tomorrow. We're also going to be having a World Rankings video coming up. By the way, gentlemen, this time next week, South Africa could be ranked number 1. That is on the cards this weekend. and not even that. We don't actually have to do much for that to actually happen. So exciting times ahead. Capman, the lesser capped Chris, Wildlife Wares, and we still need a nickname for you. We got to find something here.
The Rootmeister. Yeah.
Hey, there it is. Man's clashed up with the. Actually, I like that. You should have put that on your shirt. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. As always, please do go and enjoy your pre-World Cup beverages. Remember that it is a long World Cup. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's keep the livers functioning for the next 2 months. Let's make sure the phones are charged. Let's make sure the wives and the girlfriends are well aware of the lack of time that will be spent with them. I don't think that's a problem for at least 3 out of 4 of us here. But hopefully everyone's got all their mates and family locked down, and we're going to enjoy 48 matches across 2 months, and every single game will be live on Forever Sports. You're going to see Rudy and Wes on the channel this weekend. You will see Chris tomorrow. You'll see me every day, unfortunately for you. People, keep well, keep safe. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend ahead.
Thanks, Steve.
And to everybody else, we'll see you guys soon. Welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It is here, ladies and gentlemen. It is here. The Rugby World Cup is finally, literally an hour away. Welcome to the first stream of the 2023 Rugby World Cup Forever Sports campaign. We've currently got the opening ceremony. A lot of stuff that seems to be going on. But this is the official start of our live build-up. Coming up in the next hour before kickoff. You'll be hearing from our panel. We are here at Dros Kailami, and we'll be broadcasting from here with Official Fan Park. We'll have a feed from the venue over here of everybody outside over there, enjoying, getting some drinks in, having a good time, wrapping it up. What has been a very long week and a long 4 years of anticipation as we waited for this moment. It's been 4 years since the Boks lifted the Webb Ellis Trophy. Will they lift it again? We'll have to find out. But no Springboks tonight. Tonight we are all about the hosts and New Zealand. France versus the All Blacks. Kickoff in an hour's time. Lots to build up. We're going to be looking at the teams. We're going to be showing you how to watch all the action. We're going to be showing you. We've got a live panel over here. Rezo and Mark will be with you in about half an hour's time. They're going to be taking you through, and they're going to be sort of talking to a couple of guys on the ground over here as well. Which should be very cool. And so a lot to go. And a reminder, we'll be live for every single game this weekend, as well as the entire World Cup. Non-stop and basically unmatched coverage, really, from the Forever Sports team. It's going to be absolutely mental how much content is going to be going up on the channel over the next few months. And so I hope you guys are ready for it. So the big thing, obviously, is that how to watch the game. So if you go and check the description, we've got a how to watch video, or how to watch guide, basically, on how you can watch the World Cup. And first of all, before we go any further, I'd like to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, both BOYLESPORTS and BITDEFENDER, who are 2 of our channel partners. They are helping us power all our streams during the Rugby World Cup. BITDEFENDER not only offers premium cybersecurity as well as a world-class VPN. We've then also got BOYLESPORTS, who are one of the leading betting apps in the world. And they're going to be giving us some brilliant markets. They're going to be showing us exactly what is going on over the World Cup. And every single week we'll be doing a betting show that will be done by Chris Rowe, who is, if you haven't checked it out, you can check it out on the Crow Tips on X, formerly Twitter. He also has the betting show every Friday as well. So he's sitting pretty good as well, is Chris, with what he's gone so far. So I want you guys to jump in the comments. I want you to let me know where you're watching from, who you're supporting tonight, how are we feeling about the game that will be kicking off in just over an hour's time. I personally think that France, I wouldn't say got this in the bag, but I think they're the ones that I'm really sort of backing to get a result this evening. I think that their pack's very strong. I think their bench is very good. So I think that for me, they're the ones I'm identifying as the favorites for tonight. But New Zealand are New Zealand, isn't it? So there will always be a threat. There will always be a team to watch out for when it comes to World Cups. They are always in it with a chance. As we are watching somebody who's just grabbed a chef's beret from the looks of it, swinging around on the Eiffel Tower it is the opening ceremony, and that's going to wrap up in the next sort of 15 minutes before we then have the teams coming out for their official warm-ups. So we will be showing you the teams. We've got player profiles coming up. Profiles of both teams, both France as well as New Zealand, as they busily unveil the web aerials on top of the Eiffel Tower. Looks a pretty full Stade de France. You can imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like tonight. It's going to be absolutely electric. So I want you to start smashing the like button. I want you to start subscribing to the channel as well. We are looking to try and get past 40,000 subscribers over this weekend. So if you are new to the channel, then make sure you go and hit that subscribe button. But right now, I want a bit of a check-in. As I said, I'm sitting here at the Dross in Kyalami. We will be moving over to a fan park feed of all the people here. It's filling up quite a lot outside. A lot of people coming in for a bit of Friday night rugby as we really sort of gear up towards the World Cup. So I want a bit of a check-in there. I want to know where you are watching it from, who you're supporting tonight, who you're supporting the World Cup. You know, where are the fans? What sort of fans do we have here? We've got a lot of South Africans in the chat. We've got a lot of French fans, New Zealand fans. Who you're rooting for? Let me know in the chat. Let's get the conversations going and get ready for the World Cup. I can't actually believe we're here, to be perfectly honest. You know, it's been such a long sort of build up. It's been a long time since 2019, and hopefully it's going to be a case of what is supposedly one of the closest and what could be the most competitive World Cups ever. That is the main thing. You know, that is what we're hoping for this weekend, and through the entire next 2 months, is that we're looking at teams who are really, really close in terms of the ability and the class. You know, I think that we've got 4, and you could probably include Scotland there. I do think there are 5 sides which are, at this stage, probably quite far ahead of the other teams. But because of the way the draw was done a few years ago, all of a sudden, those 5 sides are all, you know, pretty much on the same side of the draw. So we're only really going to see 2 of them progress, 2 of the top 5 who could actually progress to the final. And as a result, there are teams who are maybe not ranked as high that could be that could actually be who could find themselves in semi-finals and finals and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting dynamic from that regard. You know, in terms of which teams can get themselves quite far. And it's annoying that we're not going to see, for example, you know, we won't be seeing a France, New Zealand, Ireland, South Africa all get into to the semi-finals. You know, like the quarterfinals is where we'll see those 4 teams clash against each other before they then split up. So we could still see, you know, a New Zealand South Africa final. We could still see a South Africa Ireland final and the likes. But quarterfinal will very much be a very important round with regards to the top 4 sides and who goes through. And I think you're looking at it as, for example, a South African fan, a very, very difficult group. Ireland, very difficult group. You know, Ireland, South Africa, Scotland in the same group, where they've got Tonga as well. It could be a bit of a banana peel. So it's not going to be easy for any side in the top 4 to sort of get through all the way. So yeah, that's going to make it life interesting. But at the end of the day, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So if an Ireland, South Africa, I think if any of the top 4 sides really go through to the final and win the World Cup, I think it's one World Cup where we cannot argue the merits of their win. You know, I do think it'll be a World Cup where whoever does win, if it's one of the top 4 sides, really did earn it in terms of having to play all the best teams, which has sometimes been the criticism of previous World Cups. Is some teams have sort of found themselves in finals and semi-finals with a favourable draw in inverted commas. That is not going to be the case. We've now had a flyover. That's pretty cool. A flyover with the French flag, flying over Stade de France there. Still very light over in France. I mean, it is at 20 past 8 local time there as they're sort of going into their spring. So the sun is still going down very, very late over in France. Now I see a bit of joy now. Some fireworks as Stade de France is being completely lit up. The vibe looks very good over there. It does. Must admit, I cannot wait to get across there and check out the stadium. Won't be watching a game there, unfortunately, myself. But we will be going there for some stadium runs, and we'll hopefully be doing a stadium tour so we can show you exactly what the Stade de France does look like. Looking at some of the comments over here, Stephen Nunes. Hey, Nunes, hope you're well. Saying whiskey is ready. Let's go France. Jay reckons the All Blacks still recovering from that onslaught. Will be interesting to see if they have learned some lessons or whether, you know, that has put them quite far back with regards to their preparations and to where they sort of feel they stand currently with the World Cup. Yeah, I think that the ironic thing is, I think, you know, if we go back maybe a month, we're looking at the All Blacks potentially being one of the favourites. All of a sudden, a couple of, well, mainly that South Africa game, and all of a sudden everybody's sort of doubting it and saying, well, maybe not so. You know, maybe they're not as much favourites, or maybe they're not as strong as they were, because obviously in the last few years we've seen an All Black side which have not been particularly strong, that have been very beatable, and have had their psyche sort of criticised. They've had the quality criticised, and not a lot of people were sort of backing them. But then this year they've started like a bit of a house on fire. They had a really good rugby championship, winning the rugby championship. They've had a really good year so far until the South Africa game. And same, you know, I mean, Ireland have been top class for a while now, and really looking the part. And so now all of a sudden, you know, they've been a bit sluggish during the warm-ups. People saying, well, maybe it might take a while for them to get going. I think Ireland have got a very strong squad. I think they've got no major injuries. I think they've got momentum on their hand. They've looked really good the last 2 years. They've gone and beaten New Zealand in New Zealand. They've beaten a lot of people at home. They beat the Springboks last year. So I struggle to look past Ireland in terms of potential winners, but they've never gone particularly far in a World Cup. They've always struggled when it comes to World Cups. So that could potentially be, you know, there's about it's a big mental thing on top of them with regards to that, as opposed to can they overcome those sort of World Cup jitters in inverted commas, and can they pitch up? South Africa are one of the favourites. They are one of the favourites. They very rarely got into a World Cup when they've won as one of the favourites. So that's a whole different thing as well. People sort of sitting there saying South Africa don't do well as favourites, and therefore they wouldn't want to be. Look, watching the teams arrive here as Anton Dupont leads his side. What a player he is, and what a World Cup he's set to have. I mean, so if France go all the way to the final, you just know that it's because he's an absolute blind of a tournament. He will be playing well, and he will be a big part of how far they go. But in case you've missed the team, for example, we're going to be showing you in a little bit, both the French team and the New Zealand team. Quite a few injuries for both sides, some big injuries, like Geordie Barrett and Jonathan Dante. I was really looking forward to that combination, but we won't unfortunately see that this evening. So, yeah, a couple of other injuries for France. Obviously, no main Intermac for the World Cup, no Paul Willemse for the World Cup. So some pretty big absentees for France. But within the side they've got, they have named a pretty good side, a pretty good pack. And in case you missed it, this is the France side that will be running out in just under an hour. Right, so that is your French team that will be taking to the field in about 45 minutes. Antoine Dupont, the man to watch. But I think a word on Mathieu Jalabert, who is now like France's big sort of hope. And it wasn't something he expected to be be brutally honest. He wasn't expecting to be the number one choice at fly half. And that's kind of what these tournaments do, don't they? They sort of thrust people who maybe weren't prepared or maybe weren't expecting to be in the spotlight into the spotlight. We saw, remember that fly half for Christchurch 2011 for the All Blacks, and Stephen Donald coming out and winning the World Cup for them. So Mathieu Jalabert's a quality player, but he's not played a lot of rugby for France. All of a sudden, Romain Intermac goes down with an injury, and he has to step up. He has to suddenly, show his value. He needs to show his work and his ability. And World Cups for me are where players are made. I mean, Pieter-Steph Toy, we think about 2 years before maybe the 2017-18 season, and how he was really struggling on the flank. People were criticizing, people saying he shouldn't be on the flank, and people went after the Springboks themselves. He then was the World Player of the Year, and the year we won the World Cup. So it's amazing how World Cups can define you as a player, and often it's sometimes the players you don't expect, a lot from that can go on to do things. So I think Mathieu Jalabert's got a really unique opportunity to be the hero for France. They need someone to step up. They need someone to sort of grab the bull by its horns, really, and say, everyone's very upset about Romain Intermac. I'm going to show you that we don't necessarily need him, that I can do the job, that I'm ready to go. So it's going to be an interesting tournament from his perspective, because I think that he was probably expecting quite a bit part role. He's going to play some of the smaller games, and within the space of 2-3 weeks, he's now going to be back as your number one choice fly half. And it's such an exciting French backline when he's playing. You've got the likes of a Jonathan Dante, although they are, Johan Murafana playing tonight. Very, very solid, very talented player. But you've got a Gael Fiku, you've got some phenomenal wings in Vieira and Dan Peno. Thomas Ramos is an absolute baller. So it's a French pack that can definitely get on the front foot. And then he's going to be responsible for making sure that front football is used appropriately. I really hope he goes well, to be honest. I think that I love to see players stepping in when they weren't maybe not necessarily needed, but when they weren't first thought about, and all of a sudden they've got this opportunity to prove people wrong. So I love that sort of narrative. We'll talk about the All Blacks in a little bit. We're going to talk about their team as well, because Ian Foster had to make a couple of injury-enforced decisions. But he's generally gone with quite a consistent team in the last couple of games, and he's kind of gone with that again today. The only changes he has made for tonight are injury enforced. He's brought in Nepo Lualala because of Tyrrell Lomax's injury. He's brought in Anthony Brown inside centre because of Geordie Barrett's injury. But apart from that, Dalton Papali'i coming into the loose trio. But apart from that, basically the same side that got outplayed, actually got hammered by the Boks 2 weeks ago, to the day actually. But he's backed the boys, and he's backed a team that has done pretty well, and up until that game. So I suppose it's a case of don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It was a team getting results. It was a team performing well. I mean, they put the Boks away very, very well about 6 weeks ago now, and so you can't forget those results and just get bogged down by that one sort of loss, because what's the point? You don't suddenly become a bad rugby team overnight. You've still got quality there. You've still got world-class players that you can rely on that can do the job. But it's about what went wrong. Why do they not cope with the Springboks? How do they fix that? How do they make sure that they fix the discipline, for example? How do they make sure that they're not making the same mistakes that they did when they lost to the Boks? And that's what they would have had to do. They would have had to do a lot of soul searching, because they would have sit there saying, guys, we don't just become bad players and a bad team overnight, but we can't let what happened against the Boks happen again. And so that's going to be a big sort of, I think, work on or focus for them. And I think the big thing for them is they've got to start well. We've actually seen that it was funny how it was almost kind of reversed. If you look at the start against South Africa in New Zealand versus the one in Twickenham, two complete different complete reversal situations. One, New Zealand started really well and were good from the get-go. The other one, South Africa were good from the get-go and put New Zealand under the pressure. Neither side really managed to come back from it. So it shows you how important the start is. And I think that to start tonight is going to be equally important. I do think that the team that starts better and gains early ascendancy could very well be the team that goes on to win this opening clash. And this is such an important clash. This is the big clash for both teams. After this, the group gets a bit easier. I've got Italy, who's the other sort of big team in inverted commas. But, I mean, I don't think Italy are really going to compete with these two teams. They'd have to pull out an absolute blind if they were to create an upset of this sort of magnitude. Yes, they've beaten Wales a couple of times. They've beaten Scotland and England back. I don't think they've actually been England. They've beaten Scotland back in the day and stuff. So they have had a couple of upsets over the years, have Italy, but not consistently. So I don't see them upsetting a French side, especially this French side. I don't see them upsetting this New Zealand side. But they could still offer a little bit of a challenge. And I think a lot of it, I suppose, is you kind of get through this first game, you kind of know that both teams will know that they can afford to lose this game and still go through without an issue. They're not massively relying on this game as the be-all and end-all for their tournament. So they've got a little bit of their group, but what they need to make sure is that they're both going to have a tough quarter-final. It could be Ireland or South Africa. That could very well be a mini-final for them. So they've got the length of the tournament to get combinations settled, to protect players as well to a certain degree, because it's rugby. Rugby is a contact sport, so there's always going to be injuries. That's always going to be a thing. The question is, how do you get away with how do you rest your players so that they continually playing rugby and keeping themselves in form, but keeping themselves fresh as well, so they can be emptying the tank every single game. The last thing you need to see is players who are tired or players who are almost sort of holding something back. You've got to be emptying the tank every time you go out there and back your squad to have enough time that if you don't recover for the next game, that there is that there are players you can sort of step into your role. So we're going to look at the All Black side a little bit, and again, it's a couple of injury enforced changes, but pretty settled All Black side. For me, a couple of interesting selections. No Havili is a big one. He's on the bench, but Anton and Brown being back to the inside centre. They knew they weren't going to have Brody Retallick or Shannon Purcell, which I do think will be major absentees. And let's have a look at the All Black side in case you've missed it. And it's a good All Black side, but it's an All Black side, I said, who are hurting. And the All Blacks, the one thing about the All Blacks is that they generally don't lose two matches. They don't lose two matches in a row. So if they were to win tonight, these would be the 23 that will be getting the job done. Right, so that is your New Zealand team. And although having said that, there has been officially confirmation of a late change to the New Zealand side. No Sam Cane in the lineup. He has been a late withdrawal. As a result, Tupou Vai has come into the starting lineup. And I'm just trying to work out, just trying to get a latest update as opposed to who's come onto the bench. Because there has been a late change to the team, which is not ideal. Lose their captain. Although a lot of people are saying that they weren't sure if Sam Cane should be starting, should be in the side. I like Sam Cane. I think he's a good player, and I think he's been a much better player this year than he was maybe in the last year or two. I think the New Zealanders have generally been better this year than they have in the last few years. So that's a pretty big loss for them from a leadership point of view. He is the World Cup captain. He is, he does need to be backed to do the business really, and. Yeah, I mean, the dynamics change, and the last thing you need is a little last-minute late disruption. So I'm just trying to get to a final confirmation of exactly what that change is. And because obviously, as I said, Tupou Vai has come into the situation. So Captain Dan Cane has been withdrawn for tonight's game due to injury. He's been replaced by Dalton Papali'i at open side flanker. Artie Sabia will lead the team, with Tupou Vai now at 6. Brodie Retallick has been brought onto the bench, and... That's a huge win then, to be able to bring a Brodie Retallick. He wasn't supposed to be fit, so maybe a bit of gamesmanship. That I suppose. I mean, I don't think a little bit like Philly LaRue being withdrawn. I don't think it's quite the same sort of situation. But it is a big loss to not have Sam Cane in the lineup. But yeah, so it's an interesting one in terms of you've now brought in Brodie Retallick, because Tupou Vai's come onto the flank, who's a much bigger player, literally physically he's a bigger player than Sam Cane, and you brought him a lock onto the bench. So your entire makeup has actually changed. I personally think in many ways, I suppose they're more physical for this change, which could help them as well. And that could be an interesting sort of dynamic with regards to that whole sort of situation, with regards to the fact that now they've got a bit of a more physical team. Brodie Retallick, I tell you what, I mean, I spoke about the fact that that France could potentially bully New Zealand, and that New Zealand were lacking a bit of physicality. Brodie Retallick, and I think especially we emphasised the fact that the bench is going to be a big part of the game. So Brodie Retallick coming on now at sort of a half time, or just after half time, will go a long way towards trying to sort of neutralise that. But with just over half an hour to go, I wanted to look at. Well, I was going to let you know that we've got a massive World Cup campaign heading your way. We will be going to France, by the way. We'll be covering every single match in the World Cup. And in case you're new to the channel, or if you haven't seen already, this is exactly what you can expect over the next 2 months for what is expected to be one of the biggest rugby campaigns in YouTube history. Right, so that is the campaign that we have for you, and it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a busy one. It's going to be the behind-the-scenes backstage tour, and I cannot wait to show you guys exactly what we've actually got, what we got planned. It's going to be one of the most intense campaigns we've ever done, and should hopefully in inverted commas, be able to show you exactly what a World Cup looks like. And I'm just busy getting myself ready here, because we are going to be handing over to our fan panel, who are here at the Jos Kalami, which is where we are broadcasting from. It is our official fan park for the evening, and we're going to be handing over to Reese and Mark very, very shortly before my final build-up for the game. And yeah, so if you are in Johannesburg, head over down to Jos Kalami. Some fantastic drink specials. We'll be at Bottles and Beers on Sunday as well. Some amazing drink specials there. They're practically giving the stuff away on Sunday for the Bok game. It's going to be stupidly festive. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully it should be one of our biggest watch-alongs ever. So while Bill Beaumont drones away in the background, I'm going to hand you over to Mark and Reese. So we're going to have to do a bit of build-up from inside the venue. And I will see you guys in about 20 minutes for the final build-up before we get the action underway in just under half an hour. I'll see you guys very soon.
Hello and welcome to the Forever Sports panel here and our build-up for the opening game of the Rugby World Cup. I could not be more excited to bring this coverage to you. We have a very special edition today. I'm joined by my good friend Mark Petty. I am Reza, and today, I mean, what an amazing feeling. All the anticipation, all the build-up, all the excitement to finally the 2023 Rugby World Cup. We do have a special edition today. You might have heard in the background a couple of people. We are at the Jos Kalami in Johannesburg with a live fan park, plenty of people here, all enjoying it, really looking forward to the start of this World Cup. Mark, how are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm very good. And I think everybody also here is very good. So we're very much looking forward to the World Cup, which is getting going. And so to all of you watching, hello, welcome to the stream. We've got a whole lot of people watching here live with us, which is fantastic. Currently got the World Cup opening ceremony going on. Anticipation's high for the World Cup. We've got massive games this weekend. The very first one, of course, tonight, New Zealand, France. Huge blockbuster of a film.
Absolutely. And I couldn't be more excited for this. Once again, this is just amazing. And thank you for everyone who's tuned in. Again, if you don't know much about us, please just realize that we are Forever Sports team. Please do like and subscribe. Enjoy the channel. Of course, we are powered by our partners at BITDEFENDER and BOYLESPORTS, and for that we thank them. And again, to Jos Kalami, please do come through, show them support. We will probably be here again during the World Cup. Right, let's get into it.
Yes,
Mark,
exactly.
Let's get into what we're here for. The very first game, and what a blockbuster of a game to have first up. France versus New Zealand, 3 versus 5 in the world rankings, I believe, or 3 versus 4, one of the two. Right, this France side is incredible. They have won 80% of their games since we've had Fabien Galtier take over in 2019. It's the highest rate of any French coach in the history of France.
Yeah.
And they're doing incredible. Their record is stupid. It's 32 wins, 8 losses since 2020. 1 home loss out of those 8 losses. How much do we give to the French team in terms of their record, first of all, and then obviously the fact that they're playing this entire World Cup in front of their fans?
Look, I mean, I think it's the first time that we're going into World Cup where France are quite clearly one of the main favourites. And I think they definitely are favourites. And I think tonight needs to be a big statement by France as well, because, you know, they've got all this form leading into it. You know, as I say, only 8 losses in the last 4 years. 1 at home to Scotland, I grant, but they've beaten New Zealand at home, they've beaten South Africa at home, they've beaten all these Ireland at home, they've beaten the other ones that are obviously dubbed other favourites for the World Cup as well. So they're going into it very much so as one of the power sides, and this team is ridiculous, the coaching staff is ridiculous, the fans are going to be absolutely insane, and I think it's scary for any other team. I think New Zealand's going to struggle tonight in terms of trying to hold back the passion that's going to be coming from those French fans and the French team, because it's just everything's currently aligning with them.
Yeah, I mean, and if you haven't already seen the team lineups for today, there are 2 strong teams here. There is not much that separates the 2 of them out here. For New Zealand, we'll start with them as the away team. Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, Nepo Lolawa, Scott Barrett, Sam Whitelock, Dalton Papali'i, Sam Kane, Artie Severe, Aaron Smith, Richie Mwanga, Mark Tillier, Anton Lennerbrow, Rico Ioane, Will Jordan, and Bowden Barrett. I would say that this entire New Zealand team, there's probably not a single weak link in that team.
No, as I say, we talk about how strong the French side is, but, you know, this is New Zealand. New Zealand are never weak. We've never seen a weak New Zealand side. Sometimes we said, oh, that player, he's new, but they always seem to just find their feet straight away in that New Zealand setup. And I think it's again, this is why I say it's such a big opening match to the World Cup, because we've got such a powerful New Zealand side coming into it. I grant, not coming in with necessarily as much form as they usually do into a World Cup. Obviously, having that massive loss to South Africa as their last game before the World Cup's going into this, they're going to have a point to prove because they lost that quite comfortably, a record-breaking loss against the Springboks. And then, of course, in the Rugby Championship, however, they won all their games. So not necessarily convincingly in a couple of them, but they were very convincing in most of them. But we still have question marks over how good they are, because normally going to World Cup, it's down and out, always going to be New Zealand. That's what you're going to say. But I think going into this game, it's so 50-50, and I love seeing the poll as well that we've got running, which is so even as well as to who's going to win tonight. So I can't even really make up my mind yet, because I do think whoever wins tonight is going to pretty much set their first foot forward and their best foot forward for winning the World Cup.
They're also most likely to top their group, which is an important thing going in. I mean, the rest of the group is just not that strong, and not much competition in there. So whoever wins tonight, I think, has got a pretty easy run in and can plan the rest of their campaign with a bit of confidence. This France team, though, I mean, they are missing some big names. They are missing some big names. Dante, Willemse, Intermac, all missing from there. But going through it quickly, Reda Vardy, Julian Marchand, Uni Antonio, Cameron Woki, Thibaut Flamen, Francois Kroos, Charles Oliven, Gregory Aldred, Antoine Dupont, who's captain, of course, Matteo Jalibert, Gavin Villieri, Yoro Mofana, Gael Fical, Damien Pinot, and Thomas Ramos. It's
an insane side.
Crazy team. And for those of you who may not be too familiar with French rugby at the moment, they are winning everything domestically, and it shows in this team. There are just competition winners throughout this team at the moment. So, obviously, the big talking point is the loss of Intermac, probably the form flower in the world, but an able replacement in Matteo Jalibert.
I was about to say, because it's quite interesting, because we saw, and I think we shared it in our Forever Sports group, was the fact that we've got the top 10 fly halves in the world at the moment, and they've got 2 French fly halves there. One of them, of course, being tonight's starter. So you go and look at that and you're saying that's a very, very able replacement. And I don't think they're going to miss out too much from Intermac, of course, missing from tonight. I think they should be absolutely fine. Nothing changes, really, essentially. That's the scary part.
Absolutely. I mean, will say, though, that the one thing going for the French that I think maybe tips the scale in their favor, and it's something that Steve had mentioned before, is that the New Zealand bench is not as strong as this French bench is. They've got a lot of big names on there as well. I won't go through it right now, just in the interest of time, but you will see it in our part of our build-up package. But I would love to just talk about this. New Zealand are 3-time world champions. Is it so fair to just write them off? I mean, the media, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, seem to feel that this is well, I mean, rightly so, probably as good as a chance as any team's going to have to breaking the full game streak that New Zealand have, never having lost a full game in a World Cup.
Yeah, and I think, also swaying a lot of people going into this World Cup, where they're suddenly not all-out favourites as they usually are. So I think, literally, rugby is especially a sport which is very much based on recent form. And because the very last game, I mean, if New Zealand had beaten South Africa in Twickenham, nobody would be having the same sort of conversations about New Zealand as they are now, because they know how beatable New Zealand is, because they got properly thrashed by that Springbok side. Both of them very much A teams, both of them very strong, and I think South Africa took advantage of the fact that New Zealand's bench isn't as strong as, of course, the others. South Africa's got depth, France has got depth, New Zealand, people worry a little bit in that section. So that's, I think, the problem as well. So, going into this World Cup, New Zealand lost to Springboks. If they hadn't lost that, I think they go into this again favourites even in this game, and I think people are going, they're the ones to beat now. So it's up in the air. I think you can't ever write off New Zealand. It's stupid that we even say write off New Zealand, because it is the All Blacks. They are going to be insane tonight. I'm sure they will be brilliant.
Is there a particular matchup in terms of these two teams that you're looking forward to?
You know what? It's the scrum halves, I think, and scrum halves and fly halves. I think it's going to be a big talking point between the two. Of course, we've got massive names there.
It's weird that you said that, because one of my talking points here is obviously Antoine Dupont, 2021 World Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And then we've got, of course, Aaron Smith on the other side, who is
arguably one of the greatest scrum
He's
halves of all
going to go
time.
down
Yeah.
in history as arguably the greatest scrum half that's ever lived.
Yeah.
And then we've got obviously Jalibert and Mwanga. And there's some question marks over Mwanga when he doesn't play behind a strong pack. And Jalibert, of course, maybe just has this tag as the bench player to Itamak. But the DuPont Jalibert, the Aaron Smith Mwanga, if you had to go in terms of a combination, which of those two combinations do you think takes it?
I mean, it's such a difficult question because I think form-wise and just general cohesiveness just going into this World Cup, I'm probably backing the French pairing. And the only reason I'm backing the French pairing is because I'm thinking like they've got so much form going into this. DuPont was named obviously World Player of the Year just within the last 2 years. And also I think going into it, Richie Mwanga, it's their form in terms of New Zealand's fly half and scrum half is very much based off of their packs, as you say, as you made earlier. It's very much based off of how well their forwards do. We saw against South Africa, nullified, because they cannot do well when they've got the back foot. New Zealand scrum halves, fly halves have never done well on the back foot. So if France do that to them, they're going to struggle. Whereas I do feel, of course, on the other side, French scrum halves and fly halves, they're quite used to doing that. They've done it for a few years. They've got both sides of it. So I think going into it, I think both of them will fare well regardless of what happens in the game in terms of the forwards, which is why I'm probably backing the French more.
Okay. I mean, my call is personally, I still think that New Zealand take this, and it might be a bit of Southern Hemisphere bias, possibly, but as a South African, I'm so traumatized by what New Zealand have done to us over the years, rugby championships and tri-nations over the years, and it's been so difficult to beat them when it comes down to the games and the tournaments, especially, that matter. Their BMT is second to none, in my opinion. So I still think that France are the underdogs in this one, but it says the best chance that they actually have. Having said that, there's one more matchup that I wanted to go into. It's the Uini Antonio is a 1.97, 147 kilogram prop.
Yes.
Who is renowned, 53 caps, renowned for his scrummaging ability. He's up against Ethan de Groot today, Ethan de Groot, I should say, who's a younger but up-and-coming prop. But he is 120, I think about 123 kgs. It is a matchup that I am salivating over. How important, we mentioned it with the Richie Mwanga talk, how important is it to get that forward dominance? I truly believe that New Zealand have to come out the pack firing.
Yeah, I think New Zealand's got to do the opposite to what happened in the South African game. They've got to go and do exactly what the South Africans did to them. They've got to burst out. They've got to go and put pressure on that French backline, force mistakes out of them, because I think the French will also be nervous as much as they're going to be like very much passionate about the game. They're going to be a little bit nervous. It's the very first game of the World Cup. It's one of the biggest games the World Cup going to have. It's inside Stade de France, of course, their stronghold, but at the same time, the pressure that they're going to be feeling. They're going into this World Cup as arguably the favourites. So I think New Zealand's got to force mistakes straight away, put them under pressure and say, hey, are you guys actually ready for this? Because they've been there, they've done that, they know what the pressure is. France don't know that pressure yet. So I think they've got to put the pressure on very, very early there, and they've got to go and say to France and say, hey, are you ready to play? Because we're ready to play. So they've got to pile on that pressure immediately with the forwards. I think they've got to rush up very quickly and say, try getting behind us, try do something, because we're going to force any mistake. One loose pass, we're there.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, that's to set the tone, not only for this game, but for the tournament. It's such a big ask for both of these teams. And I do hope that the French are going to be able to handle the atmosphere, the excitement. But it's not so long ago that they held a World Cup. Yeah. So this may not be too new to them. Obviously, all of the current players weren't in that World Cup, of course. But it's not new to them. They should know this. They should know.
It's in their DNA. To win is in their DNA. The All Blacks are, if you look at win percentages, the number of wins in rugby history, they are number one. And when you talk about New Zealand and the rankings in general, New Zealand are always there as more or less either one or two. Only in the last couple of years have we seen that fall a little bit because they've had a huge transition period. Because, 2019 World Cup, lost to England in the semi-final. Nobody saw that coming. And then, obviously, since then, they've had to do a bit of a rebuild. But going into this now, I feel like they've rebuilt enough. I think they're back to that sort of standard that they should be at. So, yeah, I think that's the sort of comments I'd like to say about New Zealand, is the fact that they should be quite a strong team again. And France, they've made a final. They've made a Rugby World Cup final. They've lost to New Zealand in 2011. Of course, it's 12 years on now. The first game, a little bit of revenge in terms of World Cup feelings there. So again, it's such an awesome game to start with. I just have to allude back to that because we've seen two incredible teams come up against each other with lots of positions and playing recently. That says.
Look, I think we could go a little bit deeper than this. I think people underestimate just how hungry New Zealand are for this. I mean, they were hurt in that 2019 World Cup. That hurt them a lot. To lose to England in that manner, when they looked like, honestly, they were favourites. I mean, I'm kind of happy we managed to avoid them in that 2019 final. But to touch quickly on for me, the player who's going to be pivotal to the role that France are playing in this World Cup is Antoine Dupont, and we can't mention him enough. But the 2021 Player of the Year, the interesting fact about him is he's won everything in the Northern Hemisphere, all club competitions that he's been able to play in. But the trophy that's eluded him is his World Cup. He is currently the Messi of rugby at the moment. Let's hope that, well, for his sake, maybe he can emulate this. But do you think that weighs on him? As a player?
I think, look, there's a lot of pressure on him. Everyone knows Dupont is the main man in that French side. There's no doubt about it. I think everybody knows that he's going to be the one to lead them. Of course, he's their captain on top of that. You know, it's like Siya Kolisi for South Africa. But at the same time, in South Africa, we've got a lot of leaders, a lot of people around him. And everyone knows there's other star players that we look to. France, they've got great players across the line, don't get me wrong. But all of them look to Dupont. They know, and everyone in the world's talked about Dupont. So we've got that sort of feeling that he's got to deal with. But he's won it so many times before, of course, in all the local competitions, and other competitions, Six Nations and otherwise. He's a born winner. He knows how to do that. He handles that pressure well. Can he emulate that now into this World Cup in France, his home stadium? Now it's a real test of his character. If he does well tonight again and leads them to a victory against the All Blacks, you start to now make questions again about, you know, we talk about the other side in New Zealand, the greatest scrum half of all time. Dupont now starts answering that question a little bit. So it starts tonight, and he is so crucial to that French side.
100%. And I'm sure that we're closing in on time very soon, but I guess the last matchup that I actually want to talk about is this. Gael Fikal, Rico Ioane, and your brother and Stephen is sold on Gael Fikal as being, you know, the absolute next best thing to happen to rugby, and he might just be right. But Rico Ioane is the prodigy child. I mean, he went from wing, he plays fullback, he is everything that you could possibly want in a player. He's strong, he's quick, he's intelligent, he's got the mind, and he's still so damn young. I personally think that Rico Ioane takes that match.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, when you come to the back line in general, I mean, when it comes to wingers and fullbacks for New Zealand versus France, I think New Zealand are topping it. I mean, but fullback maybe a little bit of a question mark. I mean, it's Beauden Barrett, I grant, but just going back to that question there, yeah, I think New Zealand does take that. I think very much he's a much stronger player.
People are raving about this French back line, but I look at this, I mean, the names are just ridiculous. Richard Mo'unga, Mark Talia, Anton Leonard-Brown, who's a season, Will Jordan, who scores tries for absolute fun, and Beauden Barrett, who's lost his spot at fly-off.
And made it up in full-back, yeah.
He's still considered one of the very best players in the entire world. I mean, it's ridiculous to me. But, I mean...
Look, I mean, at the same time, I will say this, sorry, I should say full-back for France, though, of course, having Ramos at the back there, he's also insane. I think Ramos is one of my favorite players to watch, and him and, funny enough, Dupont play ridiculously well together, which is not usually something you see in most rugby teams, where you see the scrum half and the fullback working together so often, but you see that a lot more in France. And Ramos is also unbelievable for France. And I think that's going to be an interesting matchup in terms of Beauden Barrett versus Ramos, in terms of who's going to have the
Right, hello everyone, and welcome back to France versus the All Blacks. And kickoff is in just 8 minutes' time. 8 minutes' time, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are ready for what is going to be an absolute brilliant encounter. It is finally here, isn't it? The World Cup that we've been waiting 4 years. 4 years, for is finally here. And the question is, are you ready? And are we ready? And who is ready? Are France ready? France, by the way, playing in their white kit tonight. The All Blacks will be in their black kit. And as I say, kick off in just a few minutes. The teams will be coming out very shortly for the anthems. And then we will have kickoff. We're going to be doing a very short video. We're going to do a video very shortly of how to watch all of the action if you're still looking for a stream. If you check out the description, you will see that what you need to do is you need to get yourself a VPN. We recommend using ExpressVPN or else BITDEFENDER, who are one of our partners. And you can go and get yourself the VPN. You can go and set it to Ireland, and then you can watch for free on RTE. So I'm going to be showing you a bit of a guide in a few minutes on exactly how to do all of that and how it all works. But before then, I want you guys to continue voting on the poll. We've got well over 1,607 votes on, and I want you to keep voting. Let's see how many votes we can do that. I also want to start doing a bit of a check-in. And before that, are you listening to this? Bugger. That didn't go well. Oh, it was I hope you can hear that. My favorite song in the world was a beer. Oh, no, it's pouring opening. Oh, goodness me. I think this is a bit of an old one. This is all going pear-shaped here. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Now there's beer on the table. Oh, my goodness me. Goodness me. Now there's beer on the floor. Oh, it's just all gone terribly here, people. Things you try to do. Things you try and do to try and have some fun. Now let's move my entire camera. Oh, we're falling apart here, ladies and gentlemen. We're falling apart. I'm not quite sure what's happened here. Give me 2 seconds and we'll sort that out. But yes, we are falling apart, unfortunately. But that should fix it all up. There we go. Now we're all good. Yes, beer was a nice idea, but all of a sudden it's just made everything absolute chaos. And the exciting thing is, by the way, is that we have got a fan park as the teams do come out, by the way. And we're going to be moving to our official fan park feed in just a second. Our official fan park for the evening is at the Dross in Kyalami. And we will have a live feed there showing you exactly what's happening over there, that side. And because that is basically what's happening. As you can see, the Dross pretty packed over there. Just down the road there from where I stay, actually. So that is where our fan park is this evening. You'll be able to see all the reactions from what happens there as it does happen. We'll be switching to that in a little bit, and that should be pretty exciting to see the reactions live as everybody sort of waits in anticipation for this game, which will be starting in just under 5 minutes. Once again, we're going to be showing you how to watch the game, and that's going to be in just a second. So if you are watching, just check out the description. And before we get the game going, and before we sort of really get underway with the anthems about to get underway, we've got a big choir in there doing it. It all looks fantastic. It's all very exciting. As I said, we're finally here, which is very cool. But before we get there, first of all, please do smash the like on there. Please do subscribe. We're just over 800 subscribers away from 40,000. I'd love to get to 40,000 before the bot game on Sunday. And but what I want to know is I want to do a bit of a check-in. Where are we? Where are you watching from? Where are you in the world? Who are you supporting, for example? What's on the beverage menu tonight? What are we drinking? I want to know these details down in the comments below. And let's sort of check it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. It's good to have you. It's always nice when you have these sort of streams. We get some new faces into the channel and into the chat and stuff. So if you are new, let us know that you are new. Introduce yourself to the community. Let us know who you watch, who you support, for example, and who you're backing. But the big question that everybody keeps asking is, how can I watch all the action? And I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to show you. Lovely and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's guide on how to watch France versus New Zealand. The World Cup is finally here, and the opening Pool A fixture between France and New Zealand at Stade de France in Paris will be the opener. And what an opener is going to be. It's set to be an absolutely epic encounter on Friday, and hopefully the match really puts up to the billing. But the good news is, in terms of how to watch the match, you can watch every single match of the entire World Cup on RTE2, which is a free broadcaster if you are in Ireland, which means through the use of a VPN, you'll be able to watch the entire World Cup, including this match, on a free-to-air broadcaster. So without any further ado, we're going to show you exactly what you need to do to be able to make sure that you don't miss any of the action for the entire tournament. Right, to watch the entire World Cup on a free-to-air broadcaster, which is RTE2, then this is what you need to do. First things first, you're going to get yourself a VPN, which is a virtual private network. Basically, what that is going to do is that's going to geolocate your device to make it seem as if you are in a different location, in this case, in Ireland, because that is where RTE is going to be free for the World Cup. Now, every single one of the 48 games will be shown RTE. So first things first, you're going to download a VPN. We recommend using ExpressVPN because it's tried and tested and worked. And so you're going to download, link in the description. The entire guide for exactly how this method works is in the description as well. So you're going to go and download ExpressVPN, install it. This is what it looks like. You're going to use those 3 dots on the right-hand side to bring up all the locations. You're going to go to Ireland, and you're going to then click on Connected. Now, currently I'm connected, which means if I go to the RTE website, I'm not even signed in or anything like that, but I'm currently watching all on RTE over here, as you can hear now.
I got to take some notes.
So that is RTE2 right now, which is the channel that all 48 games will be live on. If as soon as I go to ExpressVPN and I turn it off, this suddenly will no longer be geolocating my device. It'll make it seem as if I'm in South Africa, because that is currently where I am. And I'm going to just refresh RTE in the background. And as soon as you're not connected to a VPN, this method will not work. But it is literally as easy as that. So all you have to do is get yourself a VPN and connect to Ireland. And over here, as soon as you're not, it says you cannot stream due to rights restriction. It's easy as that. ExpressVPN, Ireland server, watch every single game on RTE2. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments below. Otherwise, you can use this method for every single game up to the playoffs, quarters, semis, and final. And looking forward to seeing you guys all across the various watch-alongs. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon. Right, so there we go. That is how you can watch all the action. Now, some very exciting scenes over here, by the way. We've got a pretty special haka that seems to be happening. And Aaron Smith was in the middle there. And there was a bit of a haka sort of team meeting before the actual haka got involved. And they've now sort of split into the formation, and the haka is underway. So it looks like a bit of a special one coming out specifically for France for the World Cup, which is pretty cool to see. Always nice when there's a bit of extra sort of occasion being added to it. So there's the last chance, really. It was your last chance to go and jump into the comments and let me know who you're supporting, where you're watching from, what you think. And yeah, I'm gonna go to some of the comments stuff like toxic saying I'm in South Africa. And Samuel says, just watching for fun. Box supporter. Abu Dhabi Dave saying, live in Ireland. And from Josie, Twisted is watching from Mexico. Claudia is reporting in from Sydney. Sorry, Claudia. And Andre reporting from Rand Park Ridge. We've got a couple in SA from Spain. Abu Dhabi says, it's funny, I live in Ireland watching the game on Super Sport. Cape Town, yes, says Buffalo. Right, so as I said, we've got the haka underway at the moment. And in case you're wondering, by the way, we've got a Super Brew as well as a Fantasy, if you'd like to go and join that. The links are there in the description. And so you can go and check that. Well, that's the code for the Fantasy. And the haka is finished, by the way. It is underway, which means, we all know what it means. It is kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. It is finally time for kickoff here in the World Cup. It's been 4 years since a World Cup game. The last World Cup game ended in South Africa lifting the trophy. Will one of these two sides lift the trophy? They are two of the top 4 teams in the world. They are two of the favorites for tonight. The question is, who's going to get off to a perfect start? And looks like it's a good time over there. That is the fan park over at Dros Kalami. As you can see, the brandies are on full flow. Lots of cool specials over there. We'll be crossing over to them at halftime for a halftime show, which should be very cool. But you can keep an eye on them in the bottom right-hand corner. And let's hope that they're all having a fantastic time. Very upset that I'm not out there with them having a beer, but I'm here with you. And that's what matters. And please do keep subscribing to the channel. We've already jumped up almost 50 since we mentioned the fact that we were over 800 away from 40,000. We're now up to less than 800. And I hope you guys are all ready for this, because this is going to be an absolute nail biter. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. This could be a bit of an old beer. I've got no idea if this is going to taste nice or not. No, it's fine. Not bad. Not bad. Whenever I take out a beer from this fridge in particular, I never know if it's the old one that I keep forgetting to drink, or if it's one of the new ones. I think we got a bit lucky there. I think we got a reasonable beer there. Right, so we're going to end the poll there on over 2,000 votes. But who do you think is going to win tonight's clash? I want score predictions, people. Score predictions, and go, 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 go. Are you ready? Late change for the All Blacks. No changes for France. It is the hosts in white. It is the All Blacks in black. And we are just seconds away from kickoff. Charles Woodevon looking very sternly ahead. It looks like New Zealand will have kickoff. It looks like they'll be playing left to right. A packed Stade de France. And what an occasion, what a tournament, what a moment, what a night. And this time next week, by the way, I will be in Bordeaux. How cool is that? I'll be in France. Jaco Paper, the man in the middle, representing South Africa this evening. Right, New Zealand with ball in hand. It will be Beauden Barrett. The whistle does go. We are underway for the 2023 Rugby World Cup. And immediately goes back towards Thomas Ramos, who looks for a touch. Nice, easy exit. And will New Zealand look to play quickly? They decide not to. A very, very nice exit from Thomas Ramos. He's pinned All Blacks back to about the halfway line. So it's a nice first touch. Got to calm the nerves. I think that's the biggest thing with France. They've got to try and calm the nerves a little bit. Just sort of settle down. You all know about the occasion, and they'll understand the expectations that they've got for this game, but they need to just make sure that they can just clear their mind. But first set piece here, Cody Taylor goes to Sam Watchalong, and he brings it down. Aaron Smith to Richie Mwanga. First carry, but straight through is Rico Ioane. Rico Ioane through, and he's just short. Out wide to Annalena Brown to Will Jordan. Will Jordan to Beauden Barrett. Beauden Barrett on the inside. Brilliant early touch there. And now ball down there. No penalty. Penalty. His decision come from the side. The Jaco Paper relying on his official. What a break from Rico Ioane. Brilliant little offload from Annalena Brown. Just straight through the middle. They're taking it quickly as Aaron Smith. He's just 5 meters short. Penalty advantage as well from Jaco Paper for not being 5. If this can be recycled, they are within 2 meters on the bottom right hand side of the corner of the field. There's slow ball here though. Will Jordan, Artie Severe decides to pick it. He goes to Richie Mwanga. Mwanga goes to Beauden Barrett. Beauden Barrett with the cross kick. There's a lot of space. And Mark Talea, can he control it? He can. He's over. The All Blacks get the first point of the tournament. It is Mark Talea who goes over. It is a horrible, horrible start for the hosts. It's the perfect start for the former champions. And we all said, I said in my pre-build-up, I said it's about who starts better, who starts well. You can't switch off, and they did. The space out wide there, Damien Pinot was always going to come off second best there. Beauden Barrett identified the space. It was a pinpoint cross kick. It wasn't allowed to bounce. The bounce was kind, and Mark Talea actually had time for the ball to sort of bounce over his shoulder before grabbing and putting it down. So that is the start you want for a World Cup. You know, absolutely anyone would take in that start. Not good for France. Absolutely brilliant for New Zealand. Well, here we go. Here we go. The poll earlier said, I just want to go check the poll. And earlier the poll did say, where is our poll gone? Oh, we haven't ended it actually. I'm going to end it now, by the way. We're going to end our poll there. I want you to see what we decided here. But the poll was New Zealand 60%, France 35%. So of the 2,500 people that voted, they did back New Zealand to do the business. Beauden Barrett. Richie Mwanga will have his first attempt at a goal here. And it's looking pretty good. He's going to go slightly towards the left, so he will miss. It'll just a 5-point game. Now, the important thing from here from France is to not panic. It's not a good start from them, but don't panic. You know, it's literally the first 3 minutes of the game. So I don't think they will. But this is where your big boys, your Anton Dupont, your Gregory Aldrich have got to say, right, boys, not how we wanted to start. We're now going to get into their half. We need to play rugby down there where we want to. Now, deep restart there, and Sam Whitelock was a little bit hesitant there. Eventually went up, and they have managed to contain the ball. Their ball going up to Looks like Dalton Papali'i, his first carry of the game, has shifted numbers. Penalty for France, though. Sealing off is the call. And Julien Marchand, of course, it's Julien Marchand at the breakdown. It's such a good breakdown threat. This could very easy all of a sudden be a 2-point game. It is very kickable. Thomas Ramos is a brilliant goal kick. He's already striding towards it. Anton Dupont has pointed to the corner. Let's check and see what's happening over at the fan park over there. As you can see, filling up quite nicely down the Drossik Kyle Lamy. And again, a big opportunity for us to thank our sponsors, BOYLESPORTS, as well as BITDEFENDER, who are helping us power the stream. And almost 2,000 people in the chat watching. A reminder, we will be live for every single game, this entire tournament. We're almost up to 39,300 subscribers. Everybody's coming in. Yeah, we're having a good time. And this is just the start of the 48 games. But Thomas Ramos, absolute baller of a player. And he's got his first kick of the match, kick of the tournament. And Ramos keeps his head down. They go straight over the middle, and he's good. And that all came from that early break. Rico Awani straight through the middle. Brilliant break from him. Really good hands there from Annalena Brown. And then the consistent pressure. They had a penalty advantage. They got a penalty. Aaron Smith taking it quickly. But unfortunately, a bit of a coach's error from New Zealand to then concede a penalty early, and a good take there from Aldrit, and it'll be hammered back. That's a brilliant kick. It's a huge kick. Mwanga will take it quickly. He throws it back inside of Bowden Barrett. Bowden Barrett looks at his options, decides to put it in the air with Will Jordan, who is chasing hard. But it's a brilliant take from Thomas Ramos. Absolutely sensational from him. The boos ring out. They wanted the penalty. I think it was a pretty fair game, if you ask me. And now Jalabert kicks it over the top there, and it'll be Richie Mwanga underneath. It goes back inside. He's got Bowden Barrett once again. Bowden Barrett assesses his option. Decides to go. He's not gone to sort of kick and chase himself. Vieira's gone over back there. And he's brought down by Bowden Barrett. And I'll tell you what, Dalton Papali'i was had an opportunity there. Thomas Ramos at first receiver. Charles Olivan decides to change the line there. Little chip over the top there. And it's a really good and favourable bounce. Takes it away. And eventually it falls to Cody Taylor, who's brought down by Thibaut Flement, but and has actually been turned over by France, but illegally so apparently by Jaco Paper. So the whistle does go, and it will be a penalty for New Zealand. I'll tell you what a frantic start this has been. High octane stuff here over Stade de France. He hasn't found touch. It's a big mistake. And Thomas Ramos will hammer it back down the park. So early mistake there. First real mistake there from New Zealand. Richie Mwanga throws it back inside towards Will Jordan. Will Jordan looking for options. Decides to straighten. And he's brought down by Thibaut Flement with a help from Johan Moefana. Now they go down the left. Ethan de Groot at first receiver. Bowden Barrett decides to throw a long pass out wide to Octelaire. David Pona is scrambling. Comes back inside. But forward pass, I think, is the call. Which means we're going to have our first scrum. And I'm very excited to see the scrum battle. I think that this is going to be one of the big aspects of tonight's game, and very keen to see who's going to get the better of each other. I think Ethan de Groot, I've been saying, I think he's been a big part of this New Zealand scrum really starting to measure up a little bit. But he's up against a very, 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 very accomplished scrummager in Antonio. So it should be a great battle. And this is one of the aspects I think will be very interesting to see who gets that sort of early ascendancy. So it'll be a France ball. Sam White, a bit of grey in the beard. One of the most experienced World Cup players ever, by the way. Could very well make that record his own this tournament if he were to make 4 games. Nepolo Lal, he's got a big as well. No Cyril Baye to contend with, but he does have a pretty good scrummager in Reda Wada. He's not as big as Cyril Baye. So the French pack very much missing the size of a Paul Willemse as well as a Baye, but still very, very good players in that side. Thibaut Flement, what a player he is. So much fun to watch. Right, some of the comments saying, didn't say, prefer All Blacks to win. Dr. Importier says, seriously, go France, we love you. Andre says, France by 3. Who scored for New Zealand? Was Mark Taylor. Ramos never misses, says Jay. February says, once here scrum, first scrum, I think this will be interesting. Who has dominance? Right, so we're in the middle of the park here. The ball will be fed by Anton Dupont. He hasn't had much to do as of yet. Very much labelled as one of the potential players of the tournament. And let's see how this first scrum goes. Right, run to the back, and it's a bit of pressure there from Dupont, and he's thrown to the ground by Aaron Smith. In fact, been manhandled, and eventually Jalabert comes across, and Thomas Ramos spots a bit of space. He's turned Mark Talair, who's scrambled and now knocked it on, I think has surely. Backwards of the call from paper. I'm not convinced about that. He's still going as Mark Talair. He's eventually brought down. I think it's very, very lucky to have been called that knock backwards. I think it was definitely a knock on. Bowden Barrett now going to Will Jordan. Will Jordan saying, I've had enough of this. He puts it to the boot, goes down to the right-hand side. Scrambling inside is, it looks like, Thomas Ramos. He's got a good angle. That's a great kick. That's actually Mathieu Jalabert who's kicked into touch there. You can hear the boos ringing around the stadium. Not impressed with that decision from Jaco Paper. I must admit, I thought it was forward. I mean, he caught it facing forward and went straight down off his hand. So that's usually generally always called forward. Julian Marchand getting a bit of running repairs there, getting some tape on that leg. Not quite sure what the issue is there. What a start! I mean, I'm exhausted just watching so far. But this is it. This is World Cup intensity. This is what we kind of wanted to see from these two teams. You wanted to see two teams having a go. But looking at that turnover from Julian Marchand early on, that early penalty one, absolutely brilliant. Coca records the All Blacks will win this one. They have to save face. Dr. M. Porquito is still reinforcing his support for France. It's been 10 minutes so far in the first half. Yeah, Cody Taylor this time he's going to Scott Barrett, but he's thrown straight to Charles Oliver. So turnover ball. No harm done in the end. France actually on the front foot. Nuafana now being wrapped up by Anton Leonard Brown up to the 10-meter line on the left-hand side. Down the side, it's just Anton Dupont. Brings in Gregory Aldred. Couple of meters there. Now Dupont going down the right-hand side to Mathieu Jalabert. Goes pretty flat to Julian Marchand. He just takes the hit from Scott Barrett. Ball available, but I think a knock-on is the call from Jaco Paper. So it'll be turnover ball. Mistake there coming from the talented hooker. Right, another break and play, yeah. So a couple of mistakes creeping in, and I think that's a bit of early nerves. And we might actually have a replacement here. I think that Julian Marchand could actually be suffering a bit. He's down once again, and I'll tell you what, they've lost Cyril Bai, they've lost Paul Willems, so they've lost Romain Intermac, they've lost Jonathan Dante, and I mean, I would have put 3 of those guys in the top 5 players you don't want injured, and now to have Julian Marchand with his injury cover standing on the side ready to go. That's a big worry for France as well. You lose him as well, and I reckon you've lost 4 to 5 of your most important players already. And Samuel says, the opening ceremony was magic. Hope France can come up with magic. Done most of the thing. And second, I personally don't know if we're going to win this World Cup. But we have to wait and see how we get going on Sunday. First things first, beat Scotland, and we'll go from there. Right, so penalty there. Redewadi is the man penalised. He's also somebody who's going to have to sort of stand up. When you start missing your major players, I always say it's a great opportunity for the replacements. Free kick here for New Zealand. Time off here, and I think Julian Marchand could be down again. I think Jaco Paper's probably going to have to sit there saying, listen, you're going to have to make a decision here. In fact, he's going off. Yeah, he's going to go off here. That's a huge blow for France. I mean, in terms of your 3 players, I mean, if I choose 3 players that I would have hated to have seen gone off for France, it would have been Dupont, Marchand, and Aldred. So to have lost Marchand now, that's huge. That is absolutely massive. Right, free kick, and New Zealand put it into the air. And it's going to off to the side, and he's happy to just marshal it out to Tupou Vaa'i. Penalty, I think, is the call. Yeah, I assume it's for France. If it is for France. Charles Oliver played in the air as the call. So Mathieu Jalibert started the game well so far. I'm impressed. You have nice early touches. Right. Poker M saying the most important games of the series are the Boca game. Just want to watch our boys. And that's another mistake. Not repeating. It's another man who's not made that found touch. Jalibert with the mistake this time. It's a great kick from Uchi Mwanga. They do take it quickly. Now Jalibert hangs absent downfield towards Will Jordan. Will Jordan assesses a very sort of strapped knee there from Will Jordan. That's a bit concerning. Now Thomas Ramos eyeing up his options, seeing a bit of space down the left-hand side, searching for that 50-22, but Beauden Barrett is well positioned. Beauden Barrett playing in his third World Cup, by the way. It's a great little torpedo. Searching for that 50-22 once again. Thomas Ramos, just got on the inside of the ball, gave himself a bit of time. Now he's to stay inside the 22, look for touch. It's a good touch find. It'll be inside in New Zealand's half. And Julian Marchand, his head is in his hand as they sort of assess it. I think that looks serious, eh? That doesn't look good for Marchand at all. Right, first receiver there is Rico Awani. He carries it up now. Good hands there from Tubo Vibe, but well met in the tackle here. Good tackle there from Mathieu Jalibert on Scott Barrett. Aaron Smith going down the short side. Artie Severe decided to get into the action. That's a nice, typical Artie Severe tackle. I'm sorry, carry rather. He's always very busy in contact. Richie Mwanga going behind Beauden Barrett. Rico Awani looking at space, decides to go himself. Just up towards the halfway line. Cody Taylor going himself. Wasn't quite the right option. He decided to go down the blind side and he looked up and only saw Will Jordan. He kind of pointed back on the inside. Aaron Smith now, a bit of slow ball, giving it to Scott Barrett. He thought about the off blow. It's a big hit on him. And I think that's Movaka, the replacement hooker, who's decided to come on and make his impact known. Tubo Vides, a bit of a poor pass. And Will Jordan has flown it over the top to Mark Taylor. He's up against Demon Penno 101. Cuts inside and Reda Wadi is there to make the tackle. Gregory Alger getting across. And in fact, it's Francois Kroos who's there to help out. Now Sam Whitelock looking to try and get themselves back on the front foot. They were at the halfway line, back to now chip and chase from Will Jordan. He's gone down in a heap, asking for a penalty. Thomas Ramos has picked it up and chipped it over towards Beauden Barrett. As somebody said, a bit of a tennis match at the moment. Now Thomas Ramos is out of position, so Beauden Barrett is looking to try and exploit them, and that's a very good kick from Beauden Barrett. He's found touch down that right-hand side. It is the advantage of having Beauden Barrett at fullback. You've got a very accomplished kicking option there. And he's found a very, very good touch find down that bottom right corner. They go short now. Mavaka, he's still away. He's off. He's got space. Oh, he's kept and chase himself. He's been taken out. And Beauden Barrett's going to go all the way. He's going to take the touchline dropout, goal line dropout. He is. I tell you what a little moment there from the hooker. A brilliant little break down the side there from Mavaka. A little chip off the left boot as well. He was taken out, I think. Yeah, a lot of people who've been going down and sort of trying to claim that they've been taken out off the ball. Initially, 26 years old is Peter Mavaka, born in New Caledonia. It's a French overseas territory, and now plays his rugby at Toulouse. Right, so the goal line dropout. They go back to Gregory Aldrin. Now, he hasn't really had a run. He's got on a run, and it's a big, big tackle on him from Sam Whitelock. Good work from him. And he's got France just between the 10 meter and the 22. Nice little switch and play there, but it's turnover ball. And then the ball's popped out towards Aaron Smith, a bit of pressure, and he's thrown it away to Beauden Barrett, who's then passed along to Richie Mwanga, who's popped it up to Mark Taylor. Very messy. Mark Taylor coming back inside, sort of going backwards to go forwards. Trying to find a bit of space. He's found a lot of space, in fact. He's eventually been brought by Mathieu Jalibert. And knock-on is the call. Gail Fiku was trying to snatch the ball on the ground. Bit of a messy pasture play, and the result is a knock-on. What will be a French scrum. Right, some of the comments saying, Evan's saying some weird crosswinds so far. And James is a bit of a boring crowd in the stadium. Maybe we just can't hear them. Surely it can't be boring. Surely it's got to be a vibe there. I refuse to believe it's not. Julian says, My Booyaka said, yes, pause another KW5 year in Coke Light. Love your work. Love your work, lads. Love your work. Meanwhile, the subscribers continue to climb, people. Can we get to that 40,000 mark today? I mean, that'll be, I didn't expect it, but it'd be pretty cool if we could. And a penalty to France. This is right in front of the pole. This should be France taking the lead, you know. This time against Ethan de Groot, who's already got a bit of a patch over there. A bit of running repairs for him. Right, so the time on the clock is 18 minutes, and Thomas Ramos has got his kicking tee, and he's looking to try and kick the host into the lead for the first time tonight. Dave says, Stevie, they just seem a bit quiet. That's all. That's what I said. I'm hoping that they just aren't. The mics just aren't great. You know, I'm hoping that's the case more than a bad atmosphere. But yeah. So Antoine says, "Go my boys." With a name like that, I'm assuming that means the French. Happy Bruce said, New Zealand scrum appears to be struggling. Damas says, my opinion is New Zealand versus South Africa finals. Right, Thomas Ramos, the great goal kicker. This should be pretty straightforward. This should be 6 points to 5 on the 20-minute mark. A couple of steps, and then bang he goes, and it's down. I mean, in terms of down the middle, that is the definition of down the middle. Thomas Ramos has gone 2 from 2. France take the lead just shy of the 20-minute mark. Good kick from the fullback, and the host, and Julian Watchalong, looks absolutely heartbroken on the side. I think he knows he could be in trouble. His tournament could be in trouble. That's never a good sign. You often know the player when there's something that's really not good. And I think he feels exactly that. I think he feels that his tournament could potentially be in a bit of jeopardy here. Anyway, the restart goes towards Gregory Eldred once again. This time he decides he's going to run it himself. Puts his head down and bounces off Nepo Lala outside the 22. Makes a few yards. Good carry there from him. And Anton Dupont has brought this all the way back. Had a very quiet game so far, Anton Dupont. Hasn't had much to do. Now he goes to the boot and launches it pretty far. From 22 to 22, Richie Mwanga back inside to Bowden Barrett, looking at options, decides to go in the air, and Will Jordan's going to have a bit of a chase here. Who wants it from a French side? Thomas Ramos has asked for it, and he's taken the contact, and Gregory Eldred is there to clean up with assistance from Francois Kroos, as well as Cameron Waki. And then it goes back to Anton Dupont, who's almost turned Richie Mwanga. He's caught that just outside the 22, looking for a bit of a run. Decides to go to the boots. He's going to kick and chase this himself. Once again, Thomas Ramos is after this. And that's a brilliant take once again from Ramos. I tell you what. Couple of players that maybe started a bit slow. He's been on the mark from the get-go. Looked really good so far. Gregory Eldred now just by the halfway line on the right-hand side. Jeff for France. Thomas Ramos decided to go into the scrum opposition. Thibaut Flamen makes his first carry. Now Anton Dupont goes to Gael Fiku. Fiku with ball in hand. Going to Mufana. Mufana is slipping as he comes back on the inside. Dupont fires it out towards Jalabé. Jalabé straight to Cameron Waki, the big lock. And he almost gets through. Looks to get his hands through the tackle. Has been kicked ahead. Anton Dupont is leading the line here. Mark Talea, not too many options, decides to go to the boot. And it's got oh, no, that's dreadful. And just as I was talking about how good Thomas Ramos has been, the pretty average kick from Mark Talea, and he's just not gotten it right at all, and he's fumbled it really badly. So it'll be a scrum for New Zealand on the 22, on the left-hand side of the park. The French 22, that is. So allowing them back into a good position. And you can see by the shake of their head how disappointed he is with that effort. Right, so big opportunity here now for New Zealand. On the left-hand side, they've had 60% of the possession so far. They've got the entire right-hand side to work with. Decent scrum there. Much better from New Zealand. And they go to Antonio Brown. And they wrap around. And it's Broden Barrett who gets away from one. It's eventually brought down by Aldred. Bit of a training ground move there. Not brilliantly executed. But RCB goes to Richie Mwanga. Richie Mwanga steps inside. But Jadabert's holding on. New Zealand about 10 meters out now. Aaron Smith. There's a call down the blind side as Dalton Papali was asking for it. They get up towards the 5-minute mark. Discipline now needed from France as they go back from the inside. Scott Barrett, however, seems to be a bit of space. He makes a few yards. Oh, Artie Sevier has apologized. He knows he's taken the man beyond the rock, but he's gotten away with it. Pick up and go there from Leolaro. Now this time Artie Sevier. Oh, I didn't throw the big dummy. Couple pick up and chase here. Pick up and go. This time it'll be Artie Sevier once again. Will he throw the dummy? No, he's popping it up. Here's Artie Sevier. Oh, there's a couple of numbers here. Pick up and go now. Artie Sevier himself. He's driven back. Needed a bit of spreading here to do the French. And will New Zealand decide to go to the back line then and keep within the forwards? Pick up and go once again. Francois Croce doing some good work there. And now penalty advantage. Super They're just short here of New Zealand, but they've got a penalty advantage, which means Aaron Smith will surely finish to the back line. No, they've got Scott Barrett. And he's just short of Scott Barrett. It's gone back towards Aaron Smith. Knock on the ground. Penalty for New Zealand. Artie Sevier wants to quickly and decides not to. He thought about it. Tap and go here. New Zealand with a bit of a planned move. Cody Taylor is the one that is going to lead the tap and go charge here. Ethan de Groot on his shoulder. He's got no. They've decided to take the points. I think that's probably the right decision. Get themselves back in the lead. They thought about the tap and go. I think until they kept moving inside and realizing how straightforward of an opportunity this should be for Richie Mwanga to add the extras. And we'll throw it over to our fan park. That's what's happening over at Dros Kailami. As you can see, a lot of people in there. I know a couple of people. I'm pretty sure I know that girl walking across screen, in fact. So a couple of people over there. And looks very vibey, doesn't it? I'm going to have to go get involved in some post-match festivities later. So if you're out and about looking for a place to go, check out that fan park at Dros Kailami. We'll be crossing over them live for some halftime analysis brought to you by Reza and Mark. They're over there. And we're doing a bit of a live broadcast that side, which is quite cool. And yeah, but Richie Mwanga on the shot clock, 16 seconds left for him to go. Pretty straightforward. He does add the 3 extras. This will go to 8 points to 6. And I'm trying to remember what my Super Brew pick was, but I didn't say by too much. I did call France, but not by too much. So we have to wait and see. A reminder: if you're looking to watch the game, check out the description. If you go get yourself a VPN, you can go and watch for free using RTE2 that is showing the entire World Cup. And a bit of a water break. By the way, so that has been sanctioned. The entire weekend, there will be water breaks across the various games. That's because of the heat over there. And South Africans were sitting there going, what heat? But yes, they have made the decision that there will be water breaks throughout the weekend at every single match. So in case you're wondering why the water breaks, they made the decision. I think they will be treating on a weekend-by-weekend basis. And yeah, so that's the water. The first opportunity really to look at this line break, as Gail Fico of all people was caught slacking a little bit. It's a great covering tackle coming in from Damian Pinot, but yeah, Gail Fico was a bit nowhere. Ewan Mafano got called in to the action. It's a great break from Rico Awani. It's a great tackle coming in from Damian Pinot. He was scrambling to get back. And then the cross kick from Broden Barrett said that first try was absolutely brilliant. And the subscribers keep climbing. Let's see if we can get 39,500 before halftime. We'll just need 121 to be able to do that. Look at me doing quick maths, by the way. Quick maths. Also, what do we think of the shirts? Have you seen our new World Cup shirts, which is pretty cool? In case you guys don't know, there is the name. You know, most of you guys should know me. I mean, come on, I'm sure I'm a household name by now. But Stevie P here with you for this game tomorrow. You can look forward to seeing, if you are new, you can look forward to meeting our boy Wes Hartman, who's actually broadcasting from out of Botswana. He's out there in the Delta. And he'll be broadcasting there at the 1 o'clock, the Italy versus Namibia game. I'll be with you for Ireland versus Romania. We're then going to have Rudy, who'll be taking you through Australia versus Georgia, before I would be then taking over for England versus Argentina. Back-to-back watch-alongs tomorrow. The restart coming from Thomas Ramos down the left-hand side. He lifts it high in the air. And I tell you what, there's been a call here. And I think it's a penalty for New Zealand. And, oh, it's offside. It's all in front of the kicker. That's a big call to be making. We don't often see that being penalised. So it's pretty cool to see that is the case. Right, what are we saying in the comments here? Tim saying, please like, 100%. And Evan says, both teams looking like they're already a few weeks into the tournament, look banged up and squads are full of injuries. So feeling hot in Europe. Evan said, I wish I could see that. Right, so we will be restarting with a scrum on the halfway line. All the players for France were in front of the kickers, which is an interesting thing. We very rarely see that actually being called. And I think it's a good thing it's get called. I think there's certain things that just kind of we don't generally make a decision about, and it annoys me because why wouldn't you make a decision about it? But yeah, so Jaco Pepe has called it out, which I think is a good thing. But it is a scrum for New Zealand on the halfway line. It's a very frustrating moment for France because you might want to put pressure back on them, and they competed well at the kickoff. But a penalty at scrum time, and it's Ethan de Groot of all people. Oh, not of all people. I said that I think he's someone who's going to be tested tonight by Antonio. He's an absolute Goliath of a human being, and at the moment very much losing that battle is Ethan de Groot. They are going to take the points here, so France will be once again taking the lead. Yeah, Antonio having seen it, and you can see Ethan de Groot under a lot of pressure at scrum time here. Antonio is a tough customer, one of the best scrummagers, and he's just so big, isn't he? And that's the thing with the tight edge, you kind of just sort of anchor. When you've got that kind of weight behind you, then you're always going to be in with a chance. And that's looking pretty good for Thomas Ramos. He's a great goal kicker, and he's on song tonight. He makes that 3 from 3. France go back into the lead, trading bows like ping pong here. And 9 points to 8 with 12 minutes left in the half. Remember, at half time, we will be having a show straight from the Dross Army, which is over there. As you can see, that is the fan park that's currently happening. Lots of good vibes over there. And we'll be crossing over to them live at halftime, which is going to be a lot of fun. But Gregory Aldridge, who's lost the scrum cap, by the way, he carries that up. It's a pretty slow ball here for Anton Dupont. It's a great kick from Anton Dupont. They're taking it quickly at New Zealand, but they're taking it from just outside the 22, really. Will Jordan wants to kick and chase themselves. Who's after that? It looks like Antonio, but Thomas Ramos coming in. He's taken out Will Jordan, but not illegally. RDCV has just put in a cross kick, by the way. He'll chip him behind. Now, Gavin Villiers. So he's trying to get on the outside of Rico Wani and presents well, but RDCV has big counter-attack coming in for New Zealand. They have turned the ball over. Aaron Smith, Dalton Papali'i, Sam Whitelock now. And thought about the big pass out wide, did Scott Barrett before eventually taking himself. So turnover ball for New Zealand just outside the 22. Scott Barrett now fires it out towards Richie Mwanga. Gets away from Gail Fiku's rush at the line. Richie Mwanga gets away to Mark Talaire. Gail Fiku wraps him up. Shane Paul, Tony was desperately trying to get across there, the big tight end. Now comes back inside to Bowden Barrett. He goes to Ethan de Groot. He's got one thing in mind, and that is a big hit, but he's lost the ball in contact. Now Muvaka pops it up, and the ball's turned to Damian Pinot, who's trying to find a bit of space. He decides to kick over the top. There's nobody back. Anton Dupont is flying through this. I tell you what. And Bowden Barrett's had to crash into touch. Anton Dupont with a good turn of pace, putting a lot of pressure on him. He's throwing the ball away. And this will be a line out for France. But a brilliant kick, or an intelligent kick from Pinot. And then what a chase that was then from Anton Dupont. I tell you, if that ball had stayed in, neck and neck with Bowden Barrett. And Bowden Barrett, by the way, is absolutely rapid. So it's impressive to be able to sort of stay with him. But now France, Mavaka, I think this is actually France's first line-out. So they've actually called a full line. They're calling Francois Kroos, and they've allowed New Zealand to adjust and send another player in as well. Right, 9 points to 8, by the way, with just under 10 minutes to go. They go up. This goes Cameron Walker. He's been sacked. Is the sack a good sack? They actually managed to get the ball back, so it's pretty well done. Bit of a rolling more going. Mavaka controlling things at the back there. Early substitution for Julian Marchand. Are they going to be able to cycle this ball back? I tell you that I'm not sure. Yeah, the ball has gone back. This is a very, very well constructed, but they're up against the touchline. So Anton Dupont does decide to use it. Mofana steps on the inside, in for Jonathan Dante. A big absentee, but an opportunity for the 23-year-old to show what he's worth. Slow ball here for Anton Dupont, who eventually fires it to Francois Kroos. Now deciding to go on the right-hand side. He's sniping here. Dupont looking for options. Mofana goes to Gael Fiku. Fiku getting away from one. His head's up. He's looking to try and offload. His bench is brought down to ground. Bit of a tussle on the ground. And Mark Talea has actually turned that over. And penalty for France, though. Aaron Smith cannot believe it. It was a legal turnover, but then I think Sam Whitelock had ball in hand, and Anton Dupont getting over that ball and then being penalised for not releasing. So very, very close calls being made at the moment by Jakob Pape. It is a penalty for France. Towards the right hand side, Thomas Ramos would probably back himself, because I think he backs himself from absolutely anywhere. But this would be, I'll tell you what, after that rolling more, I would be thinking maybe with a bit of momentum to try go to the corner and see if they can score some points. Jan said, New Zealand will win after hurting by SA. They will stand up in this game. France, too much injuries. Coco saying, what a break. So does that extend normal time a rugby game? Yeah, so there will be a couple of minutes. Obviously, we do stop time, so you don't have to worry about any extra time, but it will mean that the game itself will take a bit longer. Welcome, Sailor the Samurai, the latest member to the Forever Sports Members Club. If you would like to support us, please do consider becoming a member. It is our pinned comment. We are going over to France, who are taking the points, by the way. We have got lots of coverage, and obviously all these things do cost money. So a big shout out to our members who do pay a small monthly fee to help support the channel. If you'd like to consider becoming a member, go and check the link over there. A big shout out to our members who do help power this this channel. Benjamin saying, I want New Zealand to win this Rugby World Cup. Love from India. So Thomas Ramos is about 6 meters in from the right-hand side. He's looked quick very well. And that's another... No, it's not to the left. Looked very good. It's just gone down the left-hand side. That could have been France extending their lead. So they missed out on that one. It wasn't the easiest chance, Thomas Ramos. It is his first one that he has missed. And what could have been a 4-point lead remains a 1-point lead with about 6 minutes left on the clock. Now the restart. It's a very, very deep restart. And Jalabert just decides he's going to have to keep it low. And he's happy to hammer it back and force them to make a decision. In fact, it's gone all the way back. Richie Mo'unga having to go back to retrieve it. And he's going to look for touch here, I reckon. Yeah, that's pretty well played from Jalabert. He's just hammered it back and said, right. He's actually turned Richie Mo'unga, who then decides to go for touch. It's not a bad touch finder, but the net result is France are going to have a line out inside New Zealand territory, which is what they would have liked. Try and see if they can find another penalty, for example. And now they've got to run out just by the 10-meter line. So Mavaka goes up, and Cameron Walkie, however, has knocked it on. It falls to Leolala, and it goes back to Will Jordan. It goes to his left boot, and it's high in the air, and Gavin Vailly was underneath it. And he's, in fact, he wants to run. He's gone past Will Jordan, and he's going to run straight into Dalton Papali'i. So probably not his best decision he's ever made, but there are some players back. Gael Fiku is there to direct things at a scrum half. Pops it up to Charles Olivon. He's had a bit of a quiet game so far with ball in hand. Anton Dupont taking his time. He's going to roll this back and go to the boot here. He can generate so much distance, Anton Dupont. And he does go pretty deep. France have generally kicked quite deep. They haven't really kicked to compete so far. New Zealand very much have. Now, Beauden Barrett assessing his options, then deciding to put his head down and go himself up towards the halfway line. Aaron Smith down the right hand side to Scott Barrett this time. Only the two Barretts line. He's got it's getting away from one. He's gone into the French half. Pick up and go as well. I think that's Lolala who decided to have a go. It is indeed. Now, slow ball here for Aaron Smith on the 10-meter line. Good work there from New Zealand. Good hands there from Tupovic. Now they're firing up in a 2-on-1 situation. Rico Wayne decides to straighten. Solid tackle there coming from Yomi Mufana, the 23-year-old. Mark Talair, pick up and go. He's thrown to the ground by Gregory Aldred, who's then gone over the ball so quickly and turned it over brilliantly. Now Pinot juggling the ball, looking for options. He's just drifting down the left-hand side. Gets away from one. In fact, he's just been caught by Scott Barrett. Thomas Ramos, not too many options. Decides to go to the boot. He just hammers it downfield. And Richie Moanga does allow it to bounce. Once again, I think he's looking for touch. In fact, it's Beauden Barrett who's back there, looking for that torpedo. And it's a pretty good kick. In fact, it's a phenomenal kick from Beauden Barrett. He's pinned France all the way back, just out of 22. Now, once again, this is not a good sign. Gregory Aldred down and holding his shoulder. It was a brilliant, brilliant turnover. Mark Talair slightly isolated, but Gregory Aldred threw him down very quickly. 3 players on him, but bang, he gets that ball so quickly and then pops it up. And he's getting a bit of treatment, a bit of ice on the shoulder. I think he should be okay to continue. They've already lost Julian Marchand tonight alone. And, yeah, not to mention the plethora of injuries that they've lost so far going into the World Cup. People, we are 80 subscribers away from 39,500. Surely we can get there by half time. So if you're not subscribed, do subscribe. Salas says, good to be here. Okay, thank you for joining. Should change my name though, 100%. You should be changing your football team as well. Rumash says, will you be live for all games? I physically will not be live for all games. This channel will be live for all games. Tomorrow you'll see Wes, Wildman Wes, as well as Rude's down in Gqeberha. The Rude Meister down in what is formerly known as Port Elizabeth. He'll be broadcasting for the Georgia versus Australia game. Wes on that Italy versus Namibia game. I'll be with you for the other 2 games. As Anton Dupont hammers that ball downfield. Richie Moanga goes back inside to Beauden Barrett. Once again, he's going to bring out that spiral, and basically we're going to press reset. Or are we? Thomas Ramos, no, he's taking it quickly himself. And once again, just gone straight back to the boot. They're just trying to force New Zealand to kick it into touch. Slow the game down. I mean, all the forwards have just stopped. Richie Moanga, once again, he's looking for that long touch finder. He does find it. It's an interesting tactic here. It's a bit of a case of who will blink first. You know, we've got New Zealand are happy to kick towards touch. France will keep kicking it back to them, hoping that, you know, one will spiral off badly and, you know, progress their way up. But New Zealand so far have been pretty accurate by going to touch and just sort of keeping France pegged back inside their own half. So once again, we will be having a line out inside French territory. Mavaka has got ball in hand. They're halfway between the 10-meter and the 22. They go to the front of the line out. Thibaut Flamen went up and brought it to Gregory Aldred. Caught on the ball here, but actually it's very caught a little bit unaware. And this is going to go back towards Anton Dupont, who will once again kick this downfield. French very much happy to kick it quite deep. That's gone pretty high. Vieira's going to give us a bit of a chase. You haven't really seen them chase too hard, but once again, it's an uncontested ball. It's a good tackle there on Beauden Barrett. And a couple of All Blacks players back there to help him. Now Mark Talair finds himself down the right-hand side, not where he really does a lot of his work at the left wing, but getting involved there. Aaron Smith firing it now to RDCV at first receiver. Richie Moanga, I tell you what, there's space. There's space. Ball over the top. Falls to Delta Babali. He's putting his head down. He's got options on the outside. And it's the forwards. I mean, it's Anton Brown on the left-hand side, but the forwards are doing all the work here. Aaron Smith fires out to Artie Severe. Big carry from him, looking for the offload. Gets it away to Beauden Barrett. This time he gets to Sam Whitelock. He's eventually brought down inside the 22. Really good passenger play this from the All Blacks. With 1.5 minutes left on the clock in the first half. Scott Barrett now brought down. Aaron Smith firing it out towards Antonina Brown. Gets it away to Beauden Barrett. Francois Kroos making the tackle, but they are starting to progress. Now back to Will Jordan. It's a great chop tackle coming from Redawale. That's really good work here. Aaron Smith now going to Lualala. The big boys getting involved. Aaron Smith down the left-hand side now. Cody Taylor, not too many options, decides to drive it up as they look to try and get up to the 5-meter line. They are edging ever closer here on New Zealand. As they get up towards the 5-meter line. Artie Severe this time. Aaron Smith sees a bit of space on the left-hand side, and Cody Taylor's throwing that straight in the touch. That's a bit rash. After all the patience in the build-up, the momentum, Cody Taylor just trying to, as he's almost going down, throwing the ball on the inside, and probably not the right option there. So it will be another France line-out. Also, welcome to Rangi, also the latest member of the Forever Sports Members Club. Thank you very much to everybody who has joined. There are 20 seconds left on the clock. 30 seconds left on the clock. It will be a defensive line for France. I think for them, probably just get through this, kick it out, go into touch. And then we'll be crossing over to there. That is our fan park down the road at Dross Carlami. Over at the top, that's ballsy from France. I must admit, straight to Gregory Aldred. It has worked out pretty well. With 20 seconds left, Anton Dupont is going to use his boot, or he's going to go back to Jalabert, and I think he's going to use his boot himself here as Anton Dupont. He's asked for a blocker. No, in fact, he's asked for a pod. And he fires it to Muvaka. And now I think he wants to get into that favorable right footer. He wants to fire this out to Jalabert. He does fire it out towards Thomas Ramos, who then just taps it out. Right, that is half time. And that is the score. 9 points to 8. And it's going to be interesting to see what the second half does hold. A very entertaining first half, it must be said. And I think that, yeah, in terms of trying to understand which team played better there, New Zealand scored a very nice try. France, however, have not been rattled. I think that's the main thing. They've slowly sort of grown into the game. They gave Fiku having a couple of words with the official. They've slowly grown into the game. And we are going to be hopefully crossing across to the Dross in Kalami, which is our official fan park, to get a bit of discussion there from Reese as well as Marco at that side. And before that, though, we have got a lot of new faces on the channel. We are not quite past that 39,500 mark, but we will get there very soon. So because we've got some new faces in the chat, I'm going to first of all show you how to watch the game, and then we're also going to have a look at exactly what our build-up will include throughout the rest of the tournament. Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's guide on how to watch France versus New Zealand. The World Cup is finally here, and the opening Pool A fixture between France and New Zealand at Stade de France in Paris will be the opener. And what an opener is going to be. It's set to be an absolutely epic encounter on Friday, and hopefully the match really puts up to the billing. But the good news is, in terms of how to watch the match, you can watch every single match of the entire World Cup on RTE2, which is a free broadcaster if you're in Ireland, which means through the use of a VPN, you'll be able to watch the entire World Cup, including this match, on a free-to-air broadcaster. So without any further ado, we're going to show you exactly what you need to do to be able to make sure that you don't miss any of the action for the entire tournament. Right, to watch the entire World Cup on a free-to-air broadcaster, which is RTE2, then this is what you need to do. First things first, you're going to get yourself a VPN, which is a virtual private network. Basically, what that is going to do is that's going to geolocate your device to make it seem as if you are in a different location, in this case, in Ireland. Because that is where RTE is going to be free for the World Cup. Now, every single one of the 48 games will be shown RTE. So first things first, you're going to download a VPN. We recommend using ExpressVPN because it's tried and tested and worked. And so you're going to download, link in the description. The entire guide for exactly how this method works is in the description as well. So you're going to go and download ExpressVPN, install it. This is what it looks like. You're going to use those three dots on the right-hand side to bring up all the locations. You're going to go to Ireland, and you're going to then click on Connected. Now, currently I'm connected, which means if I go to the RTE website, I'm not even signed in or anything like that, but I'm currently watching all on RTE over here, as you can hear now.
I got to take some notes.
So that is RTE2 right now, which is the channel that all 48 games will be live on. If as soon as I go to ExpressVPN and I turn it off, this suddenly will no longer be geolocating my device. It'll make it seem as if I'm in South Africa, because that is currently where I am. And I'm going to just refresh RTE in the background. And as soon as you're not connected to a VPN, this method will not work. But it is literally as easy as that. So all you have to do is get yourself a VPN and connect to Ireland. And over here, as soon as you're not, it says you cannot stream due to rights restriction. It's easy as that. ExpressVPN, Ireland server, watch every single game on RTE2. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments below. Otherwise, you can use this method for every single game up to the playoffs, quarters, semis, and final. And looking forward to seeing you guys all across the various watch-alongs. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon. All right, boys, I've got some very good news for you. We are going to be crossing live to our panel over at the Pan Park at Dross Carlami. So to take you through that first half and exactly what happened, I'm going to be handing you over to Mark and Reese. What a first half it was. I will see you guys for the second half. But until then, let's hear what they thought about that half.
Fan Park, where we've, of course, live from Jos Kyalami. It is half-time here in the New Zealand versus France clash. It's the first game of the World Cup for 2023, and it's hell of a close. We know it's a big blockbuster match, and New Zealand currently trail to host France 9 points to 8. Very, very close, very scrappy, and very nerve-wracking for both teams. And everybody here has been absolutely very excited about watching the game. It's been some great vibes here. Great to see everyone come out for this game. And Risa, well, what a half of rugby we just had there. I mean, just sum it up a little bit before we go into the greater details.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mark. And I mean, it's been so exciting. And to be honest, not totally unexpected. Because what it sounded like and what it seemed like the entire time is that we were expecting a very high-paced, a very, very I'm not entirely sure my mic is working right now, but very fast-paced game. But what turned it into was incredibly scrappy. It's been scrappy, and unfortunately, it doesn't really look like what everyone was kind of hoping for. High octane, a lot of skill. It has been a bit patchy.
So would you essentially sum up the fact that both teams have been nervous? I mean, we spoke about beforehand. We said both teams will probably be very nervous going into this game. It's going to be a huge, huge clash right at the beginning. So what I think we saw was perhaps a very nerve-wracking start from both teams, and maybe they're still just trying to not make a mistake. They're playing very safe the whole time. New Zealand were on the try line multiple times that half, and just a big penalty gives it away. They knock it on or something like that, and then they don't opt to go for the try. They just take points because they're saying, "Hey, you know what? I think both teams are very much nervous, and I think France, especially in those opening 2 minutes, of course, conceding that early try to New Zealand."
Yeah, I think they were a little bit shell-shocked. It didn't look like they were quite expecting New Zealand to come out the gate. But I mean, Rico Ioane with a clean break straight through the middle, and a clinical finish. Bowden Barrett showing what he's really good at, creating play, being ingenuitive, the creativity to put Mark Talia into space there. But having said all of that, they kind of fell apart after that. But France, on the other hand of that, didn't seem to take advantage of the disarray that New Zealand seemed in. New Zealand threw away a lot of opportunities. Plenty. In fact, I honestly believe there should be about 3 tries up in this game.
Yeah.
And France just weren't able to take those opportunities that they were given and turn it around into their own kind of opportunities. So we're sitting in a situation where they're going to have to work very hard, I think, in the second half. I think a couple of those penalties were a bit soft. New Zealand will be kicking themselves for it, but it is what it is.
And also, it's the terrible handling errors from New Zealand as well on the try line. A couple of times knocking it on, and unfortunately resulting in a penalty or otherwise, a scrum there for France. Now, is that first game nerves? Is that New Zealand not quite clicking yet? Is that just, I mean, what would be the reasons behind that?
It might have been a bit of PTSD from the last game against us, where obviously they were so up for this game that everyone had a bit of try line fever, and they were all just kind of throwing themselves at it. We saw Scott Barrett obviously over the line and fumbling it, unfortunately. Cody Taylor throwing a Hail Mary pass when they really didn't need to just before half time. And so I just wonder, why put yourself in that position 5 meters out and it's not quite working for you? It doesn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah, so now speak about France for a second, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, France should have taken more opportunities. It's been a scrappy game in general, but I'd also say that France have somewhat disrupted New Zealand. Their defense has been at a point where it's definitely disrupted that attack. Multiple turnovers in the ruck. I think France is probably winning that ruck battle a little bit more in terms of just trying to get those turnovers, forcing issues for New Zealand. Would you agree, or would you say New Zealand just are throwing it away a little bit?
I think that France have been half decent, but I also think that that New Zealand are actually throwing this away, to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see France just kind of get on it and take advantage of the mistakes that they made in that first half. I think New Zealand will be very disappointed with the half that they had. Hopefully they can rally behind, rectify those mistakes, and there shouldn't be any issues going forward.
Yeah, exactly that. And so, home crowd started to France there. I mean, will they be chuffed with France right now, leading the All Blacks at half times 9 points to 8? So, I mean, are we looking like that? So, is it going to be a good thing in terms of going into half time 1 point ahead? I mean, it's still very, very close, but will they be the happier of the two teams? They've supposedly got a stronger bench we talk about. So, will the benches make an effect?
Absolutely. The pressure that they were under, they will certainly be the happier, somehow coming away with a 1 point lead. I think that they will rely on their bench. They will know that they've got the stronger bench, and all they need to do is outlast New Zealand at this point. New Zealand are not used to going into halftime with such a tight lead, but they are very good at closing out a game. So they put a lot of points on the last quarter. I think France are going to have to come out hot just after halftime. And really not let this go right towards the wire.
It's an interesting thing because we talk about the fact that New Zealand don't normally go into such a close thing as well as low points, because 9 points to 8, that's 3 kicks from France, not a single try. Of course, New Zealand scored a try right at the beginning, but France were just a little bit shell-shocked, we're going to say. Just an easy break there for New Zealand to go and take advantage. But Richie Mo'unga misses the kick. Then later on in the half, of course, he goes and converts a penalty. So 9 points to 8. It's very, very close. It's not normal for New Zealand to go into games without too many points. Usually they find high-scoring games. I know the Springbok games and New Zealand games tend to be a little bit less, but most of the time when New Zealand plays high-scoring points, the last time New Zealand played in France, in Stade de France, France won 40 points to 25, I think it was. So high-scoring games, this is not high-scoring. So are we going to see a change in the second half?
Absolutely. New Zealand are known for piling on the points in the second half. They will be backing themselves to really go at it. I do think they need to be a bit more pragmatic in their approach. They are playing a good team in France, opening game. They do need to take points when they can and show a little bit more patience.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. So we are, of course, joined here in the fan park from Dross Kailami, and we've got a whole lot of people here. They've given their predictions for halftime. There's awards for that, and for full time as well. So I'm going to ask you though, what do you think this final score is going to be here this game?
I started off by backing New Zealand. I think I'm still going to back New Zealand. Maybe a bit of a tight margin at this point. I think probably New Zealand by about 7 or 9.
New Zealand by 7 points or 9 points. So France within that 7-point marker there.
I think it's definitely going to be tight.
Yes, I think it's definitely going to come down to the benches in the second half, because we do know how strong that France bench is. Can New Zealand hold up against that? Can New Zealand have a good start to the second half? I think that's going to be a very big telltale sign. Who's your star player so far?
I think Mark Talia has shown a lot of ingenuity and a lot of attack-minded play from him. He's been the go-forward for them in a lot of spaces. A couple of handling errors on his part, but I think that they will correct that, and he'll definitely start making space for the New Zealanders.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. So Mark Talia coming into the game a lot. Bowden Barrett's going to have to come into the game, I think, more in the second half, same as Richie Mo'unga. They're going to have to try and create something ingenuitive, as New Zealand always do. Can France counteract it? That's going to be the big question. We are going to start wrapping up a little bit, of course. So I think I'm going to get my prediction. It's funny enough, you've been back in New Zealand the entire day, and I've been sort of going, home ground advantage might be a thing. I think I'm going to sort of say France edges last minute. I also reckon it's going to come right down to the last 5 minutes. I reckon France just edges. So, I mean, your thoughts on that very quickly?
I think that's heartbreaking for New Zealand, but definitely in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, perfect, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here in the fan park for this halftime show here. The fans are so ready. We are all of us ready. And, of course, enjoy the second half with Steve. Thank you so much.
Now we are back. So apologies for that. Let me get my mic working. We are back for the second half, And yeah, very, very, very cool to hear from Mark and Reese, who are over at the fan park. And yeah, the teams are coming out for the second half, so I'd like to get your predictions here. I'm going to put in the thing: will France hold on to the win? That's going to be my poll. That's what I want you guys to vote for. Hold on to win. That is the question. Simple yes and no. Simple yes and no. As we switch back to our fan park feed. There we go. There's the fan park over there at Kyalami.
Testing.
No, just I don't know what's going on there. People, I don't know you're testing who, what there. But there it is. That's the fan park, which is that's the fan park, which is over down there at the Jos Kyalami. So that's where we get. Probably we had a bit of feedback over there. It's obviously very very noisy over there, and we're trying to sort of sort that out. But very, very cool to have the fan park, and very cool to sort of be able to cross there. So yeah, we're working on it. We're trying to innovate a little bit. No, that sort of channel really does that. So we are trying a couple of different things, but we will get them right eventually. We do a kickoff though. France go down the left-hand side, and they've won the possession off, but that's the perfect start, really. And Antoine Dupont going to Cameron Walkie. I tell you what, I think France. I don't think they need to change too much, to be honest. I think that they've been a little bit subdued, but I think and Redewadi, that's a very still going as Redewadi. That's looks a marauding run from him, and Rico Wani bringing him down eventually. But I think this is a bit more what we needed to see from France. I'd like to see a bit more of the big forwards carrying, getting them on that front foot, drawing defenders in, and then releasing the backline players. That's a terrible, terrible pass, and Damian Perrin's going to have to try and deal with a few scraps here, trying to get away from a couple of players, trying to create some space for himself. He's got so quick. He can do that. He goes down the left-hand side. He needs to straighten eventually. Does cut back inside. Pops it up for Adrian Aldridge. He gets away. Oh, it's good hands from Mavaka. And Charles Olivan come back on the inside to the 22. Gregory Aldridge sniping. Gregory Aldridge still going. Back inside to Antoine Dupont. They're just short here. 7 meters out. Pops it up to Gregory Aldridge. Thomas Ramos sees a bit of space. Ramos is still going. Arnie Severe eventually making the tackle, but France with the 5-meter pick up and go from Gregory Aldridge. Penalty advantage as well for the looks of it from Jaco Paper. He does call a penalty for the All Blacks. And that's in and out is the call, yeah. Oh, I think it's a decision come from the from the sideline officials there from Jaco Paper. So a penalty for New Zealand when they're under a lot of pressure. I'll tell you what, that was a very, very, desperate break. The good warfare. So I'm trying to look at who. So it's coming from the side. I think it's, if that's the one, I think it's Francois Kroos who's conceded that. They go to Scott Barrett, though, to New Zealand in the line up there. Artie Severe decides to chip over the top of the left boot. I tell you what, it's bounced up to Will Jordan. Will Jordan got a bit of space here, but he makes the tackle. Thomas Ramos was trying to get his hands on the ball there, but off. They told to leave it. Now pick up and go. Long pass out by Rico Wani. Is that not forward? Mark Talea. Mark Talea's gone into the corner. How easy was that? I mean, it was almost like he was looking at the referee waiting to find a decision. And France just stopped playing. And all of a sudden, bang, within the first 3 minutes of the first half, and now in the second half, Mark Talea with the double. All Blacks with the lead. And France shell-shocked once again. I mean, the chip from Artie Severe, I mean, that's just disgusting. Imagine being done by a chip from Artie Severe. On the bounce there this time, on the pass to Mark Talea, and just, you've got to sit there wondering, where's the French backline? He seems to have so much space out wide there. It was very weird. I don't know if France thought that there was a forward pass, but they kind of just stopped playing. And bang, you can't stop playing against New Zealand. Cannot stop playing against New Zealand because they'll do this to you. They are ruthless. They are absolutely ruthless. TMO's looked at the pass apparently and said it's absolutely fine. So, yeah, the referee not coming to France's aid there. Once again, they're going to have to come back from behind in this half. And that's not a bad looking kick from Richmond. He has pushed down the right hand side though, so it remains a 4-point lead. Richie McCaw looking on. I don't think he's very impressed with him missing that. And the crowd seeing it, they're not impressed. They are not impressed. The boos echo around Stade de France, but the decisions were made. The TMO's checked it, and Thomas Ramos has gone very high. They're going to look trying to compete once again, but this time Sam Whitelock's got himself very, very high, and he does come down with the ball there. Aaron Smith now taking a while to get going. Off a couple of blockers here. He's going to go to the Buchos, Aaron Smith. Now he does lift it high in the air. Couple of chases. I think Thomas Ramos was the man underneath it. I think it's Andrew DuPont, in fact. On the bounce there to Redewadi, but it does well to get away from one. It's eventually brought down from Artie Sevilla. Now DuPont firing out to Jalabert. Puts it on the ground. He's been taken on once again. He stayed down as well. Jaco Paper said play on. Chip over the top's gone to Thomas Ramos. He sees space down the left-hand side, which I think is Bowden Barrett has adjusted to very, very well. Now they're going to have to drop back a bit there. It's Will Jordan, in fact. And it's going to go inside. I think that's Jalabert who's gotten back up. Now he's going to look for touches. Mathieu Jalabert. It's a great touch find. It's right just outside the 22. Bowden Barrett happy to not take it quickly. So it's a great kick from Jalabert. He's pinned them back just by the 22. But I think he's going to want to have a word with the referee. We've seen this quite a few times. We've seen a lot of kick chases in behind and then players being taken out. And you don't want to call it diving, but there's been quite substantial reactions, I think, is a way of saying it, from the players who have run into them. And but nothing yet from Jaco Paper. Cody Taylor fires it out to Sam Whitelock at the line. Now very flat to Artie Sevilla. And Mathieu Jalabert is there to be run over and take the hit and bring him down, which he does very well. Oh, no, he's just lost it forward. Turnover ball here now for France. Tupo Vai, the man who locked that on. So just outside 22, pick up and go for Gregory. I'll just bring him. Tip off Clement. Clement's through. And it's gone up. Gail Ficus come away with it. It's gone back to Andrew DuPont. And Mark Talea as forward. Surely going to have a look at it. That's just the knock-on, says Jaco Paper. Anton DuPont might be asking for a bit more. And from on, what a break that was from the big lock, who has played fly half before, as we always tend to hear. But it really was a fantastic break. Oh, it's a poor mistake there from Tupo Vai. Cannot be knocking something on that easily. Right, so it will not be a penalty, no deliberate knock-on. It will just be the knock-on. So it'll be the scrum for France. Very big opportunity for them. And on the right-hand side, and we have another reset here. Right, so we have a reset here. What are we saying? What are we saying in the comments over here? We've got almost 500 votes on the poll. What we want to know is, can France, well, I'd say can France hold on to win, but they've already gone back behind. And Johan says, there goes Zian, bye-bye France. But Mondox Gaming saying it ain't over yet. And a free kick now for France. And I'll take another scrum if I was them. This is how this try can be accepted. Well, we have to go. That'll be a very contentious moment, won't it? We'll be visiting all the replays and finding out whether it should have been awarded, whether it shouldn't have been awarded. It was checked by the TMO. But if you're looking to watch the game, check the description. Right, so some changes here, and Romain Tuafufunua is coming on, a big boy, big boy. That'll add a lot of weight to the pack there. You can see the number 19 there. He's an absolute unit. So a bit of weight now suddenly behind the props there, and they've been giving New Zealand a hard time at the scrums, and that's only going to make things worse, if you ask me. Right, big scrum here for France. Big opportunity for them to try and win a penalty. You can get within 1 point. But a big scrum can provide a perfect platform. Penalty advantage, for example. You have a free roll of the dice, but the ball's popped up. Anton Dupont is on it. Pops it up to Damien Pinot. He's under a lot of pressure. Yeah, pick up and go from Gregory Alger, which he does so well. Just keep the continuity. The ball's popped up, and Francois Cross is down on it. And Jacob put his hand in the air. I think Anton Dupont's come away with it. Yeah, he has come away with it. So it is still France ball. Very, very slow ball. And now it's popped up towards Aaron Smith. And they've got to Richie Mwanga, who's thought about it, and has gone himself. He's brought down by Jadeberg. Gail Fiku once gets hands on the ball. Smith firing it out to Rico Awani, who made that brilliant break in the first few minutes. Oh, now it's got into Yaka Paper. And he's saying, no, it will be a scrum. Yeah, it did hit him, and he won't look to see if it was going to impact them, and it did, so it will be a scrum for New Zealand. Right, so let's go to some of the comments here. Johan's saying, agree, James, 2 tries, New Zealand going to win this. Close betting now. James Gatz says, Julie was asking, how can that not be 4? James says, not New Zealand's fault. Team said the pass was fine. Chas says, I'm slightly ahead in the stream, so holding on to commentating. I'd be very surprised if you're slightly ahead of the stream. Well, I suppose there's a buffering for you in the stream. I'll be live because I'm watching satellite. So unless you're at the stadium, you're not seeing any before than you. But yes, you will be a few things. But basically, what we can do is if you can pause your screen, for example, for like a few seconds, and then you can kind of sync up the commentary. And Bruce says that Aaron Smith up to his old tricks, pass to the ref. Wait, it's hello from LA. Being American, I'm still learning the sport. I want to ask who is going all the way. And if I was a betting man, which I am now that we've got Boyle Sports, and then I can get Chris to give me some good bets, you're looking at 2 of the people that could be going all the way. South Africa, Ireland, those are your 4 real sort of favorites for the tournament. From a bookie's perspective, for example. Aaron Smith going on the right-hand side to Bowden Barrett. Bowden Barrett going to the boot. And that's not his best kick of the night. That is sliced off the right of his boot, and it's going to give France an attacking line-out just outside the 22, so not quite in the best position. Right, so 2 substitutions from France so far. 1 injury enforced, 1 tactical, and no substitutions just yet from the All Blacks. So still the original 20, or original 15, as they did take to the field. Obviously, there was an injury to Sam Cane, and he didn't manage to get out there tonight. Pretty slow. I'm not quite sure what the whole of in play here is. But Mavak is eventually ready to get going. Ball at the top. That's a brilliant take from Charles Oliver. Looking for the maul here. Artie Sevilla is down at the bottom there, holding his head, but they do shift towards the right-hand side there. Has he been infringed there? Ready? Una Antonio has gone down. France are really battling hard to try and get a momentum at this maul, but not really getting any go-forward ball. Now Mufana. Oh, yeah, Jalabert with the cross kick for Pinot to run onto. And he will run onto it. Damien Pinot's going to go all the way. Surely. Oh, has he? Has he? I think he's gone too early. That could be a brilliant, brilliant try-saving tackle from Richie Mwanga. Or is it a bit of a butcher from Damien Pinot, who's such a good finisher? He's one of the best finishers in the world. But he might have gone too early here. Loses it forward as the call. They're going to use one angle to confirm. There we go. It's going to be an angle here for Yako Paper. Apparently he's lost it forward. I tell you what, how is he? He does. He loses it. Oh my goodness, that is huge. That is a moment, and it's Richie Mo'unga. He slapped the ball out of his hands. I think it's a line out. I think that comes out of Richie Mo'unga. So it'll be a line out. Richie Mo'unga. It's not the first time he's made a try-saving tackle in his career. That is absolutely brilliant. Right, some substitutions are happening here. Here comes 2 new props for France. And that is Jean-Baptiste Gros and Dorian Aldegheri, who are coming on. A couple of subs now being made. I think I saw a replacement as well for New Zealand. So there come the big forwards. Unai Antonio being subbed, as well as Redewadi, who I thought actually held himself in pretty good stead tonight. Trying to work out. I saw a couple of New Zealand New Zealand faces. I don't see. There we go. There are a couple of New Zealand faces. And speaking of new, so Opatunga Farsi coming on, and Fletcher. I think it's Fletcher Newell coming on as well. So both props also being subbed by the All Blacks. So a case of who blinked first, and they matched the replacements. For me, probably just a matter of time until they do send on the Brody Retallick, assuming he is fully fit. And they go to Scott Barrett, and Aaron Smith goes pretty flat to Artie Sevier. He's backing to try and get New Zealand out of the 22. What a moment that was, by the way. And you just got to sit there thinking, I mean, originally I was being quite critical of Dan Pinner, but I think looking back at it, it was just a brilliant try-saving tackle. Maybe is the ball's on the wrong hand. They should be on the right-hand side, protect the ball. A finisher like of his quality should probably know that as well. So, yeah, I mean, you can be harsh on him. He is one of the best for good reason. So, anyway, Francois Crows looking to get things back on the front foot. And Jalabert, Mavaka, Anton Dupont going on the right hand side, firing it out towards Jalabert. Jalabert popping up to Fiku, a couple of bit of traffic for him, going himself to Fiku, and Scott Barrett adjusting and grabbing his ankles very well. Pinner pick up and go, almost through, looking for a couple of options, pops it to Anton Dupont, who's actually lost it backwards, and then he's kicked into touch, and it's a push and a penalty from Yako Paper for France. You say you can't push him, so it's a penalty now. Now. They're going for the corner. That's what I was saying now. I was saying, what are they going to do? What is their decision? You know, where are they going to go? To the corner, not to the corner. They've gone for the corner. They're going for the full Monte here, boys. The full Monte, the full 7, the full 5. They want to get back in front. And an unconverted try will put them in front. A converted try will put them even more. Oh, they've competed. They'll have the All Blacks. It's gone forward off the All Black hand. And Johan Mofana's come away with it. So France with a knock-on advantage on the 5-meter line. Now, Thibaut Flamand. Francois Cross working hard in the tackle there. 5 meters out here. France desperate defense near for New Zealand. They've seen a bit of space. Jalabert pops it to Beno. This time there's no mistake. France are back. And you can see the change of actual Mathieu Jalabert. What a read. He saw the space. You can see he came tearing in, desperate for the ball. Grabbed it, held on to it just long enough. Popped it up to Dan Penny. Had nobody in front of him. This time, 0 chance of making a mistake. Look at the space there. Bang. Steps outside of Artie Sevier. Draws in Mark Tellier. Pops it to Damien Penal. That's a brilliant intervention from Jalabert. That is absolutely brilliant. I talked about the fact he was such an important player. Would he step up? He's a great player. He's just guilty of not remain Intermax sometimes. But I tell you what, he's created that try. He's got them over. And all of a sudden, France, bang, back in lead by 1 point. Right, now, a big kick this from Thomas Ramos. It's a 1 point game. If he gets this, it becomes a 3 point game, which means that they'll need more than a penalty to win. Cross over to our fan part to get the reaction of the kick. That's what's happening over down at Dross Kailami. That is one of the many rooms they've got. That's a perler of a kick. You can see the applause. They're coming from the Dross there. They're appreciating the efforts from him. We will be also having a fan park on Sunday for the Bok game. We'll be out of barrels and bottles. And You can check all the action there on Sunday. I'll be with you guys for that game. Tomorrow we'll be live for all games throughout the weekend. So looking forward to seeing you guys on all the various watch-alongs. And Gregory Eldred there popping up to his captain, Anton DuPont, who's putting a very deep kick. Samasoni Takawao, by the way, as well as Luke Jacobson on for Tupou Vai, as well as Cody Taylor. Will Jordan over the top. Will Jordan, and he's taking him out. That's got to be a penalty, surely. Penalty advantage there. And the boos once again ring out at Stade de France. Will Jordan not happy. He's saying that he's perfectly entitled to go for the ball. He did take out Thomas Ramos. It is a penalty for me. I don't think there's anything more than that. So I think we all just need to chill a little bit. However, the TMO bunker is getting involved. The TMO cabin, I apologize. That's what's on the wall. The TMO cabin. Potential foul play here. That is what is being checked. Thomas Ramos goes up. Will Jordan doesn't. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Well, I'll tell you what. The crowd is going to be asking for a lot more here. This could be a yellow card coming up. Could be a big moment in the game. Originally, I thought it was okay, but he doesn't go up. He even actually puts his hands up and almost takes him out. This could be trouble city here for Will Jordan. He overruns it, as he said. I think it's fair. Yellow card. Will Jordan, yellow card. And it's going to be a check. That's what that means. Which means the TMO bunker will be reviewing this. And so, for the first time in the tournament, I get to do this. Aha! Little yellow card there for the All Blacks. They are down to 14 men. Big moment in the game. There's a huge moment in the game. Will Jordan, big player as well, to be losing for 10 minutes. Right, now the TMO bunker, which is a different TMO team, by the way. So they'll be sitting, I think, in Paris. Well, I suppose they're already in Paris. Paris, wherever the TMO bunker is, they'll be out and checking that. By the way, there's another replacement on for France as Arthur Vincent. Arthur Vincent has come on, and I'm not quite sure for who. He'll be in the centres, I'm sure. Potentially for Euro final would be my assumption. They go to the front of the line out. They go to Gregory Eldred to do France. Interesting to see him at the front. Mavaka controlling things at the back. Penalty advantage here for France as well. Anton DuPont looking to snipe. Wrapped up by Luke Jacobson. Penalty advantage here for France. Turnover ball. They're going for the penalty. I tell you what, if I'm France, straight to the corner we go. Right, trying to get a confirmation of these subs. Really, Wadi is back up. Not quite sure why. Yeah, so it is, in fact, Yomo Fani, who's, I thought he was actually quite good, actually, the youngster. Definitely have missed Jonathan Dante, I think, tonight. I think they've definitely missed that physical presence that he does bring. And just the whole amount skill set. But what are we saying over here? So Abu Dhabi says if France top the table, should the boys top theirs? Well, if you're talking about South Africa, I would like to see us top our table. Campos says Jordan has been doing this whole game yellow all day. James Gatt says, oh boy, I'd hate to be the ref right now. Chatsport says, have you been waiting to do that? Well, I'd just like to see that it works, to be honest. As you can see, it is a brand new studio. By the way, what do we think of the studio? I'd love to get you guys feedback. If you are new, obviously you wouldn't know what the old one looks like, but it's a very new look as Thomas Ramos pushes that wide. That's a big mistake from him. Big mistake. That really should have been 19 points to 13 and a big moment in the game. But a big miss, I suppose, is still a moment in the game. But what do we think about the studio? We spent quite a long time trying to sort of... We are going to move into a water break. So, for example, we can go and have a look at the fan park. But yeah, lots of different things that we can show you in the studio. And this is really going to hopefully grow a lot over the next few months. Lots of different things we've been doing. We're doing crossovers live to France, which is going to be very exciting. When we're over there, we did crossing over to the fan park, which you can see at the bottom right there. A big shout out to our partners, by the way. So we did a bit of it's a bit of information on our partners. We've got 2 channel partners who are currently powering the stream. And we're dropping the links in the description because they're going to make your entire World Cup a lot better. A lot better. A lot better. And that is because BITDEFENDER are actually making it free to watch the World Cup if you have BITDEFENDER, because they've got a brilliant VPN which you can use to watch the match. So what you can go do is you can go and get yourself a BitDefender subscription, connect to an island server, and go watch the entire World Cup and for free on RTE2. And so they are making it easier to watch ever. And then BOYLESPORTS are adding to the experience and saying, well, not just watch rugby, why not just put your money where your mouth is? Quite literally. BOYLESPORTS are a global world sports betting company. They have recently launched in South Africa. They are official betting partners. And they've got some brilliant promotions at the moment. They've got a big price boost on Box to win the World Cup, which I went and got involved in. And so big shout out to those two who are making this stream and making our entire World Cup coverage possible. But at the end of the day, if you don't show them the support, they're not going to be showing as much support. So please do go show their support. Go and sign up for BOYLESPORTS. Go and get yourself BitDefender. Make sure you can keep your security safe. And BOYLESPORTS with some really good offers. We do a weekly betting show as well as a betting segment for BOYLESPORTS. Teach you exactly what to look out for. 22 dropout for New Zealand. It goes to Thomas Ramos, who points to the air, and it's probably the first contestable kick we've seen from France. Mark Taylor goes up and is just backtracking a little bit. Richie Mwanga looking for options, goes to Beauden Barrett. Beauden Barrett runs into, I think it was Gross there. Now back to Mark Taylor, who's driven back by Charles Olivan. He's got to do a lot of work despite being quite quiet a bit more uncharacteristic quiet. But I tell you what, he's not been quiet. He's got Barrett through the middle, pops it up. It's a huge tackle though from Damien Penner on Luke Jacobson. Big counter-attack coming from France as well. Ball is available though for Aaron Smith. Fires out to Tuangafasi. It goes to Samasoni Takawao. Pick up and go from Artie Sevilla. Now pick up and go from Tuangafasi. New Zealand trying to up the ante here. Now Rico Awani puts his head down. Up against the touchline. The ball comes back inside. Turnover ball. It's fallen actually to France or Kroos. There is a knock-on advantage here for France. Turnover ball. Now Ramos. Jalabert. To Fiku. There's a bit of space here. Fiku inside ball. That's a brilliant take from Charles Olivan. Up to the 10-meter line. Gregory Aldred pops it up to Anton Dupont. He looks at his options. Pops it back to Gregory Aldred. Very, very good relationship those two have. Now from Ramos to Anton Dupont. He sees a bit of space down the backside. And Beauden Barrett right up against the touchline. He needs to try and find a clearance here. And he's done absolutely brilliant as Beauden Barrett. He's been really good with the boot today. Apart from maybe one kick where it was slightly towards the right. And Mavaku, he's had to play a lot longer than he probably expected. It's a pretty decent game. He'll now be feeding this to the line out. And it's one front foot ball here. And Gregory Aldred carrying it. Counter rack, and the ball's popped up to the side there for Anton Dupont. Good hands. Good hands. And Villiers decided to come on the side, and he's right against the touchline. He's trying to stay in, throws the ball back inside. He does stay inside. Mark Taylor now under a bit of pressure. Came off the boot for Villiers, so no knock-on advantage or anything like that. Now you have to release. So it is turnover ball. It is New Zealand ball. They're just outside 22 on the right-hand side. Remember, New Zealand down to 14 men after that yellow card to Will Jordan. Now, high in the air. Jalabert underneath it, uncontested. Met hard in the tackle, but there are a couple of players around him to support him. Good work there from Tim Afterman. Now, pretty good. Going for distance there. There's a bit of space. It's actually allowed to bounce. Oh, and to tell you what, if it bounced in, it could have been good, but it's out in the full. I tell you what, Anton Dupont, I don't want to be critical, but this is definitely not one of the better games I've seen him have. Right, another substitution here for France, and it is Paul Boudinet. He comes on. Very, very new. And Aaron Smith is replaced. Finlay Christie will come on. And I tell you what, I would like to see Cameron Roigard on the side. I'm a big Cameron Roigard fan. I'm still yet to be blown away by Finlay Christie at this level. I can see he's a player, but I'm just not convinced he's 100% ready yet. So it's a big call to bring him on at this stage with 18 minutes left to go. The game's still in the balance, 3 points. And France potentially now We'll try to look for a turnover there, but Ollie Sevilla goes bursting through, almost up to the halfway line. Finley Christie looking for a quick ball. Goes to Scott Barrett. Penalty knock-on advantage here. And Gregory Alders tapped it through. Finley Christie has dived on it. Turnover ball, though. And there's still no whistle. Anton Dupont sees a bit of space. Fires out to Fiku. The 2-on-1 situation inside. He goes to Thomas Ramos. Pops it up to Dupont. Pops it to Gavin V. Hey, Finley Christie almost guilty of a tip tackle there. Penalty advantage here for not rolling. Big penalty advantage that as well. With the right foot of Thomas Ramos. He'll enjoy that kind of range. Jalabert fires it up. For Fanua now. They'll go back for the penalty and not rolling away once again. That's a much better position. This should be 19 points to 13. Big moment in the game there. It's Fletcher Newell who's been penalised. Right, what are the comments saying? Wise One says if France scores next, it's all over. And Megan says Oaks France will take it. This game, I mean, I'm glad you're clarifying. Salo earlier saying looking good, sounding good. Thank you very much. Wise One saying everyone's a big underdog to win from here. Right, so I'm going to put another link in the description. That is to Boyle Sports. They've got some pretty cool sign-up offers. So go and get yourself a Boyle Sports account and make sure that you're part of the fun. Right, Thomas Ramos pretty much bang in front, so this should be a 19 points to 13 with 15 minutes to go. Very big moment in the game. The yellow card really coming back to bite. Right, Thomas Ramos, head down, straight down the middle. That's a big moment in the game. I mean, it's not been a vintage game, has it? It's not been a game for the ages with regards to the quality of rugby. But it's been entertaining. It's ebbed and flowed. The lead has changed quite a few times. No team has really gone in and stamped their authority and like taken control of the game. I'd argue at 6 points, this is probably the biggest moment like that we've had. And they've gone short here, New Zealand. And Scott Barrett have won that back, so it's worth the risk. And Takawao goes himself. Finley Christie looking for quick ball here. New Zealand still down to 40 men, by the way. That yellow card to Will Jordan. Luke Jacobson, Finley Christie down the right-hand side to Samasoni Takawao once again. Now Richie Moanga goes flat, and it's lost forward, though, from Dalton Papali'i. And now Ramos, they're retreating as Finley Christie, and he's hammered that downfield. And that bounce is going to give Finley Christie an opportunity to get there. He throws it back inside. And Beauden Barrett's got a much better angle. Will find full fine touch just inside. I said he's quick for touch really well as Beauden Barrett. I've actually been very impressed with him tonight. He's been one of the players who I think has really stood up here for New Zealand. Well goes to front of the lineout. Good take there. France keeping the ball. And now I think France game management now. Now it's about just hammering it back towards New Zealand, keeping them in the inside their own half, and kind of just sort of seeing the game out like that, lifting it high in the air, giving Vail some to chase. He wants to try and tap back. It does fall to Artie Sevilla. He's been very industrious today. Now Christie, quick ball to Beauden Barrett, first receiver. David Havili on the field with a cross kick to Mark Talaire. He's looking for his hat-trick here, Mark Talaire. Damon Pena this time getting across. And Arthur Vincent getting the penalty. Very, very good work. Slightly out there was Mark Talaire, and Vincent very, very, very quickly over it. Nice cross kick from Havili. It was a nice intervention from him as he's come on here. So who's he replaced is the question. He has replaced Antonina Brown, and so just Lester Fanganuko and Brody Retallick left on the All Blacks bench for France. It is just Maxime Luchu and Melvin Jaminet. And we didn't find a touch there, did France. A couple of kicks here, and Daniel Pinno's not going to take this up. See the half a gap, and the ball's come loose forwards for the defender Christie, and that's been charged down. And so we'll go back for the initial knock-on. And tell you what, this game is deteriorating a little bit. Just a little bit everywhere at the moment. Not much structure. And yeah, Will Jordan will return to the action now. So we can remove that yellow card. There it is. Have a look and see what's happening over at the fan park there. As you can see, plenty of people packed in at the Dros Kyle Army up here in Johannesburg. Very cool to see. And yeah, we'll be at a fan park on Sunday as well in Randburg, Barrels and Bottles. So if you would like to come and meet the Forever Sports team, that's where we will be. I will be there before the game as well as afterwards. And there comes Brody Retallick. Wasn't supposed to be involved today. Late change, and he will replace Sam Whitelock, his old lock partner. But Scott Barrett, you know, the next generation, the future. Well, I say the future. He's played plenty of games so far. But he will very much be the regular post this World Cup, as I'm sure Sam Retallick and Brody Retallick and Sam Whitelock look to move on. Brody Retallick, not massively old to be fair. He's about 32. But will be 36 come the next World Cup. Sam Whitelock, he's been around for absolutely ages. He is set to become one of the most capped World Cup players ever at 34 years old. 35 next month. I think he's played 22 World Cup games, and yeah, he could become the most capped World Cup player ever, surpassing Richie McCaw. As Brett said, it's 437 subscribers to 40,000. So if you are new people, let's try and get us to 40,000 subscribers. It'll be a very nice way to spend the Friday night getting 40,000 subscribers. And you guys can make it happen. We need, you know, 420. Woo! Woo! So let's get that. Let's get there. We have a reset. I've got 12 minutes left. So surely at the very least we can get to like 570. You know, that's just small target. Let's get to 600 and 700. But I'd really like to go into the bot game with 40,000 subscribers on Sunday. That would be very, very cool. And then we want to try and see if we can get to 50 before playoffs. That's where the ambition comes in. Maybe even 60 by the end of the World Cup. But the only people that can help us get there are you beautiful people. And I'm seeing a lot of new faces in the chat, which is very, very cool. So what are we saying here? Stephen Van der Space, the top two world side, they just sort their nerves before they play ball. I'm going to end the poll. Earlier we asked, will France hold them to win? The majority actually saying no. And what was interesting is that before the game we did a poll and asked who we think is going to win, and everybody kind of went New Zealand. So I said France, and I'll tell you what, I'm pretty sure a little chip over the top. That's really good work there from Gavin Veal. I'm pretty sure my Super Bruce said France by 7, by the way. I'm actually going to go check that because I might have actually nailed something for once. Dupont, a little chip over the top. That's a very intelligent kick. Bounces back inside towards Richie Mwango. He's trying to find himself out of trouble, but he is brought down. Mark Talair down the silence. I said France by 6, by the way. How is that? How is that? Okay, the score can't change. The score can't change. If I nail the first Super Bowl prediction, I will actually probably drive to the fan park and start bragging. A couple of tips over the top. Melvin Jamine now going down behind Havili, who returns the favor. So a bit of a ping-pong battle here. Not really much happening. Somebody needs to kind of force move. In fact, Jalabert said, I'm going to mark that. You're going to kick to me. I'm going to take a mark. I'm going to take a moment here. I'm going to get my buggers to move back here. We're going to reset a little bit, and then we'll go again. I'm happy to slow the game down. You're the one chasing, but 6 points. Imagine I nailed this, boys. Right, so what's the new poll? What's the new poll, people? What are we thinking? Oh, my living. Has he... Ooh. Ooh. That's a big call. The official says that was out in the full. Ooh, that's on the line, eh? Yeah, looking for 52, but it's a brilliant kick. I mean, eventually it's going out to be out in the full, but I think he actually took it. I don't think he tapped it, for example. So it can be out in the full. It's just not your line. Anyway, here comes Esteban Gaduka, by the way, who does replace Mark Talair, who will not get a hat-trick tonight. See a couple of people subscribe. Appreciate your work. people, so please do continue subscribing. We've got 2,300 people watching, and there's no way all 2,300 of you are subscribed. So there's definitely enough of you to actually get us there. So people that don't subscribe, don't be that person. Clean ball there from the All Blacks as they chase the game inside their own 22 with less than 10 minutes on the clock. Brody Retallick, his first carry of the day. Samasoni Takawa, pick up and go from him. Christie back towards Mwanga. Mwanga goes to the boot. Will Jordan back on and back underneath. That needs to be careful. Thomas Ramos has been taken out. And a penalty advantage. I tell you what, Will Jordan could be in a bit more trouble again. Now, this one I don't think is too bad. But some good handling here. And another penalty advantage here for France. Gael Fiku drifting. Movak can't hold on to it. They go back for the penalty. And this could be kickable one. No, wait, I can't. It needs to be by 6, boys. It's got to be by 6. That was my prediction. It's got to be by 6. Miss it. I literally called France by 6. Imagine I'm right. He's going for the poles. Oh, no. No. Steve's prediction is going out the window. Steve's correct by 6 prediction is going out the window. Maybe he'll miss. So yeah, an interesting call there. I don't think he was completely taken out there. I think Will Jordan might have a bit of a case, but unfortunately, it's going to. You've just been yellow carded with that, so you're not exactly going to get the benefit of the doubt, are you? You're now kind of looking a little bit like a repeat offender, so you actually kind of need to be a bit careful. Thomas Ramos, he's nailed it. Bugger. He's nailed it. They opened up a 9-point lead to France. In fact, that could be enough. There's 7 minutes left. Big moment in the game. Big moment in the game. Very Alger, the ball underneath it. Good take from him. Needs to get the back on the front foot. Now it's about management from here, France. Game management. They've managed the game pretty well so far. Deep kick there, right against the touchline as Richie Mwanga. Now Bowden Barrett, not too many options. Decides to go to the boots. Thomas Ramos is underneath it. And a couple of kicks being exchanged so far. Now Will Jordan decides to run, almost through a gap. Bowden Barrett, good carry from him. Papali'i now. The All Blacks go to I mean, a converted try still leaves them 2 points short. So they don't have a lot of time yet. And a penalty for France. Well, that won't do at all for New Zealand. Pick up and taken quickly as Muvaka. Jaco Pepe hasn't even realized, and he's off. He's trying to catch up. Muvaka's going to, meanwhile, it's almost up to 22. And it's available for DuPont. Brody Retallick making a menace of himself, but he's throwing that out. Now options. Jalabert sees the space in behind. Daniel Pino, is it going to stand up for him? Oh, it has! And he's popped it up! Oh my goodness! Oh, there's a knock-on. Oh no. That would have been phenomenal. Apparently a knock-on. I mean, that was absolutely audacious. I mean, Daniel Pino literally on the ground just threw it up. He just tossed it up. And it almost fell into the hand. Well, it did fall into the hands perfectly. So I think there's the knock-on there. Because he goes down, he's well short, and he sees the space. So he just pops it up. And I think, where does it land? Oh, that would have been absolutely brilliant. The boo is still echoing out around Stade de France. They've been quite a hostile crowd, I think, just to put it nicely. All right, Maxi Luku's going to come on for Anton Dupont. Yeah, there goes Thomas Ramos and Anton Dupont, and they've become so much more important after the injury to Julien Marchand. Those are your talisman, I reckon. I think those two and Gregory Aldred and maybe Unai Antonio, those are your big boys. Gail Fico as well. But Thomas Ramos, that's what, 5 penalties and a conversion. So he scored, what, 17 points tonight? Big game from him. And so France have emptied their bench. New Zealand have emptied their bench. New Zealand have got less than 5 minutes to score a converted try and a penalty. 10 points they need to win. They trail by 9. Vinny Christie goes to Rico Wine. He's trying to run themselves outside of their 22. Is there yet another twist in the tail? Bowden Barrett goes to the boot. And France is not going to take that quickly. Marvin Yamine says, I'm very happy to chill. There's no need to up the ante here. We're going to take our time. We're going to go to the line out, just slow things down and go again. France going on the left-hand side, and Paul Brunet just literally waiting for someone to tackle him. They're trying to rewind the clock down as much as they can, get themselves through this first game, come through as victors. They are the tournament favourites, they are the tournament hosts, and tonight they have not panicked despite starting both halves badly. They managed to come back and lead at half-time and at full-time at this stage, unless New Zealand can cook up something in the next 3 minutes. Bowden Barrett with ball in hand, though. He's looking to try and change that. He played well with Bowden Barrett. I've been impressed with him tonight. But turnover possession, Luku puts it over the top. And this could fall! And it has fallen to Melvin Jaminet! There it is! There it is! And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That will be the game. Bang! 27 points to 13. Well, there goes my prediction. It's gone completely out. If we move to the fan park there, let's see some of the reactions there. I think a lot of people are very chuffed with what's going on. Seems to be a lot of France supporters there. I saw a couple of big diehard All Black supporters. I saw a guy with a whole painted face and everything. I mean, what are you doing? You see the fingers are going around. The abuse is starting from the tables. You can see it. You can see it's all happening over there at the Dross. People are being called out. The shouting's happening. The scenes. The scenes. Malvin Germany. On he comes and over he goes. And that's a hell of a time to score your first test try, by the way. Ball over the top and such a wicked bounce, which completely took out Richie Mwanga. And he not only did he score the try, but he had an opportunity to try and convert it. So in terms of what's going to happen, by the way, after this we will be redirecting to a live review. You guys can come and join me over on that side there. As Damine adds to his personal points tally and adds to the tally of the match. 29 points to 13. And I don't think too many people saw that happening. But goodness me, what a game. What a finish to the game. So we will be redirecting you to a live review, and so you guys can come and join me. Let me just break the game down. We should have a chat a little bit about what happened and what we think of the game as the New Zealand put in a very good contestable line. And it has come off for Dan Penno, and I think it will be a New Zealand lineup, but there's just not enough time. There's 30 seconds left. And all the expectation, they did look a little bit rattled in the first sort of few minutes. But, yeah, they've come through. Now, on to the 22, that's when Ganuka goes, and he heads away to David Abili. Will the All Blacks yet to have a final say? Hardy Severe muscling over. He's worked hard today. And it's popped up towards Maxime Luke, who's just decided to dart it down. That should surely be it. Knock on, full time. And there goes the whistle. There's the whistle. There's the whistle. And as you can see, lots of fans very happy over the dross. The French fans are smiling. The New Zealand fans will sit there and think they were there and thereabouts for a lot of the game. But that is now 2 losses in a row, which doesn't happen very often for New Zealand and fans and for the All Blacks as a team. So we're going to wrap up there, people. Thank you very much for joining me on the watch long. We did get past well over 120,000 views. And in terms of our subscriber base, we got up to 36,626. So not bad. Hopefully we'll get past 40,000 eventually. We will be redirecting to a live review, so I'll see you very shortly. You don't have to do anything. Just stay on the channel, and I'll see you in a bit. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen. Right, and we are live. Hello, and welcome to the post-match review. France outclassing the All Blacks in the 2023 Rugby World Cup opener, having to come from behind a few times. It wasn't always easy going for France, and but they really had to sort of grind it down. They really had to be patient because they didn't start particularly well. And